Travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This holiday season, Zero Res is hosting a food drive. When you get 3 rooms cleaned and donate non-perishable food, they'll clean a 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Now it's Walker. Drive through. They score! Net front from Robinson. Walker got it through. And Carolina, as Eric Robinson gets the deflection, puts Carolina in the lead. 4 minutes and 24 seconds into this one. Now Natchez will step with it into the Vegas zone. He'll turn, drop back, shot, hit with the same rebound, they'll score! Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi with a bullet follows his shot, hammers it home. 2-0 Carolina here in Vegas. Now Martinook will set up a chance and they'll score! Short-handed! Hammered home by the captain, Jordan Stahl. What a play by Martinook to set him up, and Carolina has a 3-0 lead. Kicked out, and Carolina gets it free. Taking a bingo! Jordan Martinook, a career-best goal-scoring streak. Number 48 has 5 goals in 4 games. The Sox stay lucky.
Yes, there was a lot of talk about Lucky Sox last night during the Hurricanes' 5-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Gold. That is Victoria. We are what?
It was a big win.
It's a great win.
I saw I got the notification it was 5-0 at one point, and I thought, oh, okay.
Well, no, it was 4-0. I don't think it got to 5.
There was at some point a lot of shots that had no response.
Although
I was watching the football game.
I will tell you that I was tired.
Yeah. Well, and I also heard that there were some blackouts too.
Yeah, look,
shocking.
Look, for Hurricanes fans who enjoy the Hurricanes through the app, which is now now it finally switched over on my screens to the FanDuel Sports Network app.
Yes.
It still was Bally throughout the first month of the season, but now it is FanDuel. And we joked, as the name changed, would it still be the same app? And it was sort of double-edged because Bally was only a sponsor. Mm-hmm. FanDuel is only a sponsor. It's actually not FanDuel producing the games and all of that. It is a company called Diamond Sports Group, which famously has gone through, still is going through federal bankruptcy. Now, all signs point to it coming out on the other side, but more than likely, if you are a Diamond Sports Group team in the Midwest or the West, you're probably on a very, very limited time with them. The affiliate, if you will, that the Hurricanes are part of, with the Hornets and the Braves and the Hawks, I think there are 5. I might be Nashville as well. They're fine. That's the one that does well.
Huh.
So, yeah, everything's going to stay the same. I'm virtually certain with the Hurricanes. But the app has been a problem, but it wasn't the app's problem last night. It was the actual broadcast feed from Vegas. That was the issue. Because if I am not mistaken, it went dark on my screen. I use the app at home. So it went dark on my screen. I couldn't activate the app at all. And I know if you get the FanDuel Sports Network through whether it's Spectrum cable or satellite, you were watching an interview, I think, with Walt Frazier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had nothing, right? On the radio, and we simulcast the TV broadcast. On the radio, we still had it. So we had a broadcast line, but we didn't have television. So anyway, the whole thing was messed up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an app problem. Not that there won't be app problems because the app is bad. But it wasn't an app issue as far as I could tell. But again, I ain't an expert. I just know that with about 13 minutes left in the game, I had no game.
Ah, yes.
So I was listening on the radio because, I was on the radio.
That's helpful.
Anyway, it was a very, very solid performance. I heard Miami won.
They did. I took them plus 120.
Yeah, look at you. Look at you. I heard that Miami won. I didn't see not a single second of the game.
Sloppy.
I did notice that Tua Tagovailoa, after throwing an interception, tried to lean in to make a tackle and got hit in the head.
He did.
What a dope.
Yep.
Get off the field. Just run off the field.
He's not going to learn. He won't
He
learn.
lowered his head.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Telling you. He's never going to learn.
All right. Tonight is the college football playoffs' second fake bracket reveal.
Yep.
We have to wait longer tonight because ESPN is sticking that show in between games of the Champions Classic. These games are in Atlanta. We'll have Michigan State and Kansas first. That game starts at 6:30. Then at 8:30, roughly, they'll have the college football playoff fake bracket reveal. And then Duke and Kentucky are scheduled to start just after 9. So that basketball game will be of interest. And I guess for many people, the fake bracket reveal will also be of interest. And I am, not that I'm going to watch the show, I'm not going to waste the time, but we'll look at the rankings after and we'll laugh because I promise you there will be teams who are vastly overrated. I will say this. Indiana better go undefeated. One-loss Indiana, assuming that the loss is to Ohio State, does not belong in the top 12. And it's only based on who they played. We're going to find out if remember this. Remember how they tell us how the strength of schedule matters. Remember, we're going to find out if Indiana loses to Ohio State, we're going to find out if it matters. Because the schedule that they played, other than the game against Ohio State, is, excuse me as I knock the microphone away, awful.
Yeah.
It's a terrible schedule. It might be the worst schedule that a power, I'll just use the Power 4, just for giggles. It might be the worst schedule a Power 4 school has played. Indiana's.
Yeah.
Right? Look, I'm not saying they're not good, but we're going to find out if they're about that in the committee room because what have I always said? They're not. They only care about your record unless it's convenient. Unless they decide to make it an issue, it's only about your record. 11-1 Indiana, again, we don't even know if they'll be playing in the conference championship game or not. Right? Oregon has not yet lost. They haven't lost a game, let alone a conference game. If Oregon doesn't lose, I don't know. I'm doing the whole show right here. We haven't even started the show yet. We should start, and then we can really get into it. But I'm going to start with the Canes anyway.
Yeah. Why not?
I didn't want to do the whole show without playing this because we paid great money for. We didn't.
All the great money.
No, we didn't pay any money for that.
Didn't.
Just use it because we can. All right, let's dig into it. You'll hear from the head coach here in just a second. Canes bounced back from the loss in Colorado, where they lost 6-4, ending their 8-game winning streak. They bounced back by absolutely obliterating. Other than Winnipeg, I think the next best team in the Western Conference. And yeah, I know, Mark Stone didn't play. Neither did Seth Jarvis. We'll talk about that in a minute. It was so obvious who the better team was last night for 35 minutes.
Maybe they just had to get acclimated with the West Coast again.
The truth is that kick the Tampa Bay game out that started the season. They have played 2 poor periods. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the other 13 games, that's 39 periods plus smidgens of overtime. I would say the Hurricanes have played 18 bad minutes. That's it. However many minutes were in the rest of those games, Carolina dominated play.
Yeah.
Dominated. Even the game against Philadelphia, which we all understand was really not a good Hurricanes performance. It was not a good Hurricanes performance because Philadelphia didn't generate anything on their own. It was Carolina giving the puck away. Philadelphia scored 3 goals on 6 shots in the last 2 periods. Just to get that game 4-4, that's when Nate just took over at the end, and Carolina won it in regulation. But other than that, Carolina has been almost by a mile the better team all of the other minutes, including against Edmonton when they had to rally from 2 goals to none down in the 3rd period just to get it to overtime, and they won in overtime. They have been so much better than everybody. It is remarkable that this is where we are with this team. And we'll get into the game last night, but let me just say it this way. As a group, that's what this Hurricanes team is. They are a collective. If I had told you that Carolina would get good play, but certainly not great offensive dynamic play from Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis, because they have not yet really kicked on with their offense. Yeah, Aho's at a point a game, but it just shows you how good Carolina's been playing because Aho offensively has just been okay at best.
Yeah.
Same with Svech, same with Jarvis, just okay. And yet, this team is averaging 4.2 goals per game. Top 5 NHL offense. In the last 9 games, they are averaging 4.8 goals per game. At least 4 goals a game in the last 9.
Yeah.
Without those 3 guys, Sebastian Aho is 9th on the team in goals. 9th! Roslovic, Necas, Svechnikov, I think has 2 empty net goals. Martinook, Blake, Gostisbehere, Robinson, and Jarvis, who's got a bad upper body, all have more goals than Sebastian Aho.
Yep.
He's 9th on the team in goals, and the Hurricanes are, right now, the best team in the Eastern Conference. It is shocking, to be honest, that I had no doubts the Hurricanes would be good. No doubts at all. I think I was pretty adamant about that before the season started. I am surprised that, again, 14 games, small sample size. I am surprised that they are great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not surprised they're good.
No.
I am surprised that they are great.
But no one saw this coming.
This is goofy. We're going to talk to Greg Wyshynski about this a little bit later on. As for last night, let's get the big picture from the head coach, Rod Brind'Amour.
No, I think it was real solid, good start. I think the first period is where we were able to capitalize on a good period. We've had some good first periods where we just haven't gotten anything out of it. And then, they're going to start having a good pushback, and they did, but we were able to get that lead, and that's really crucial.
In the 2 losses, by the way, since Tampa, and actually you could even say Tampa because Carolina should have scored more goals, even though that was a dud of a game. It was bad on both sides. Carolina had better scoring opportunities than the Lightning didn't get anything out of it. Jordan Staal scored the first goal of the season, then didn't score another goal till last night.
Yep.
It was a great goal last night, too, by the way. But anyway, in the game at St. Louis, dominated the first period, only got 1 goal out of it. In the game in Colorado, where they also lost, dominated the first period, only got 1 goal out of it. Frankly, they should have been more than 2-0 up. We don't have to relitigate the game against the Avalanche, but it was sort of a gift to Colorado that Carolina didn't walk away with that game because Colorado was lifeless until the shorthanded goal, and then Nathan McKinnon was cranked up to an 11. But last night, they got a lot out of the first period in large part because Carolina, to this point, their best player, Martin Necas, and his line, which last night was piloted expertly by Jesperi Kotkaniemi in every facet. I thought he was great. Maybe the best complete game he has played as a Hurricane. And I'm not talking about a ton of points. He had a goal and an assist last night. But he was good in all areas of the ice, including the faceoff circle. And that line created the 2 goals in the first period. Here's Brind'Amour on that line.
Talk about contributions, right? It's not one guy. All 3 now are really, I think, dialed in and, really been, I guess, almost our number 1 line. That's been real positive for us.
All right, now, I want everybody to just take a step back. I want to play that again. And then I'll explain why I wanted to play it again. Here's one more time.
Talk about contributions, right? It's not one guy. All 3 now are really, I think, dialed in and, really been, I guess, almost our number 1 line. That's been real positive for us.
Yeah! Now, let's understand that the head coach has struggled to get what he wants out of Martin Necas in the past. This year, no struggle. Best player so far. To the point where, I actually think he was responsible for both goals. He doesn't get an assist on the first one. He did on the second one. 10 games in a row with at least a point. Only 1 last night. What a slump. He's got 21 points in that 10-game span. 7 goals and 14 assists. It's just nutty. But I thought he was responsible for both goals. Just good, smart, simple plays that lead to the goals. But Kotkaniemi was excellent, and Eric Robinson fits so well with them because he plays a very direct, fast, simple, physical game. It is. They stumbled into this line, and it is awesome. Now, in the past, we've had trouble with Necas. I joked going into the season that I wanted to see how long Rod was going to leave Kotkaniemi in this role because, in his mind, Jack Drury is the better player than Kotkaniemi. And I happen to agree, unless this Kotkaniemi stays this Kotkaniemi for an extended period of time. Because as a big body, he provides something that, and I think Jack's a wonderful player. I really do. I think he is ideally suited to be a 3 or a 4C. Kotkaniemi, I believe, is not really good enough to be a 2. But he is playing really well right now, and if you've got Necas playing the way he is, then who's going to argue? Because I do think that 88 is driving the line, but last night Kotkaniemi was fantastic. So as long as they can continue to, they don't have to produce at this rate because that is crazy. But as long as they can continue to be really good, then this line is going to stay together for the long haul. They have been fantastic. But it just takes a lot for Rod to praise Kotkaniemi and Necas.
Yes.
It takes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't praise really anybody.
No.
Except for Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook.
Right.
Because they are, and Jack, because Drury also does it, but they are the epitome of what the head coach envisions you doing. But we're getting a lot of that out of the Kotkaniemi Necas line. All right, let me move through. College football playoff will be released tonight. I already talked about it. They're going to make. Here's what I think. I think they should make us laugh, not cry. Understand that the rankings don't matter. It bothers me that we take. Well, look at what the committee is doing here. They're putting this team here. They're putting this team here.
Very seriously.
No,
don't do it.
Just don't, please. I'm begging you. Just laugh. Let the people on TV, if you're going to lower yourself to that standard and watch, let the people on TV bitch about it. It isn't that big a deal. Whatever they say isn't that big a deal. When we add it up after the conference championship games then we'll find out. All right? So don't worry about it. Duke and Kentucky will go after. So if you have to watch, then by all means. But coming up this weekend, North Carolina is back in the pool. North Carolina gets to play against Wake Forest in prime time at 8 o'clock. Now, I understand that people think, oh, they should beat Wake Forest. Okay. Probably should have beaten James Madison, too.
Right.
And you gave up 70.
Right.
So, yeah, those chickens, yeah, don't count them yet. The following week, they'll be at Boston College. It's not going to be easy. But again, North Carolina could win both of those games. They're one win away from bowl eligibility. It would be delicious if Carolina and NC State met on the final weekend of the regular season in Chapel Hill with both teams being 5-6. It would be delicious. I don't think it'll happen. I think North Carolina will win one of these two, and they will be bowl eligible. NC State has to win one of their last two. They are at Georgia Tech and at North Carolina. Good luck with the first one. I think Georgia Tech is legitimately good. Here is Mac Brown on his team's status at 5-4.
We feel like we have a chance to win the last three games, and the way college football is, as crazy it is, we obviously have a chance to lose it. We could have won 7 or 9 as easy as we could have won 5. And I put that on our coaches. I've told them that. I said that's it. Coaches can put it on players. Coaches are supposed to get the players motivated and ready to play. That's our jobs. So we never put it back on the players. But we're planning on winning every one of them, and we're planning on going to a bowl.
All right. I'm here for it. Let's take care of business against Wake. Again, I think Wake is, at this point, they're not good, but they're plucky. Not good, but...
You got to be careful, those plucky ones.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, yesterday we talked to Chris Spatola, and I want to play this here because we can. Yesterday we talked to Chris Spatola, ESPN, SiriusXM college basketball analyst. And we were talking about how maybe a change in how, not how teams schedule, but how the schedule is structured could help enhance and improve college basketball in the eyes of fans, of TV. And that's basically, and Chris might have been more extreme than I would about how you flip the calendar, flip the schedule, and have more conference games, your conference games early and then non-conference games late. I think what Chris is really getting at is just having some of these high-profile games, like, for instance, we just saw North Carolina, Kansas. That is just a scheduled home and home. Rather than have that in November, and it was certainly cool in November, have that in February, which used to be more part of the norm in college basketball. But now, because if you go back 15 years, the ACC was playing 16-game seasons. Whether you can go back even a little bit further, 16-game seasons because you were playing everybody in your league twice, and they only had 9 teams. Even when you expand to 12, you're still playing 16-game seasons. Now the Atlantic Coast Conference is playing 20-game seasons. So with these extra games, you've got to, there's just a backlog. There's no room, really, in the second half of the year to play these non-conference games away from home. Or rather, in the middle of that schedule. You do get some open dates in the midweek or an occasional weekend. You get generally 2 of those in January and February. And teams don't want to put big games there because for various reasons, but mostly it's a grind, and you want to give your guys a little bit of a rest. Duke will play a high-profile game, neutral site with Illinois, good team, in, I think, February. I think that's at Madison Square Garden, which is sort of a home game for Duke anyway. But we don't see high-profile non-conference games in the second half of the year. But what the ACC ran into last year was a situation where they couldn't improve their status because the cake was baked in November and December, and even if they had much better teams by the time we got to January and February, there was no way to demonstrate that through the metric that the NCAA uses when it comes to select and seed teams. But if you flipped it and you had non-conference games, a bunch of them in the second half of the year, you could change the narrative. You could flip that script in your favor when you play outside your conference, but that's not the way it's done. And that's what Chris was getting at, and I am completely on board with that. Mike Krzyzewski has a radio show, I don't know if you know this, on Sirius XM. It's won awards. He's actually shockingly good at it, considering it's not what he does for a living.
Right.
But he's good at everything. Some people are just good at everything. And here is Coach K on how college basketball needs essentially to change the narrative about their sport.
You need leadership and a governing structure that will be agile, adaptable, and stay current and have the vision to be creative in promoting your product and the vision of how our sport will look a year from now, 5 years from now, have a 5-year plan and all that. Run it like a damn business, man. That's what football's doing. And our sport can be, what elevates a sport? How much money they make. That's what's elevated football. They make a lot of money. Yeah. And let's figure out how college basketball can be run like a business.
Yeah. My only problem with that is that I think that if we did it that way, it might be a slap in the face. College football is a behemoth. It's the second most popular sport in the United States. College basketball pales in comparison. Pales. College basketball is probably, until you get to the NCAA tournament, 7th best sport, most popular sport, 8th most popular sport. I mean, it's essentially, it's probably with hockey.
It's a big difference.
Right?
Big difference.
Probably with hockey. Maybe behind hockey.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will take a break. We'll come back. Darin Gantt. We haven't talked Panthers yet. We are going to. Where are they as we hit the bye week? Is it Bryce Young's team for the balance? Talk to Darin Gantt about that next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The Panthers finally won a game, but let's not forget who did it. Leading the team in tackles, a rookie, Damani Richardson. Leading the team in receiving, Jatavian Sanders, a rookie. Leading the team second in receiving, another rookie, Jalen Coker. Xavier Legette, another rookie, third. You have to let the young guys take over if you want to have success in Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, and I am here to save you a lot of money. Well, I am not. Gordon is. I have nothing to do with saving you money other than making sure you are aware that you could save thousands of dollars in closing costs and hundreds of dollars when you lower your monthly payment by refinancing your mortgage with Miller Lending. Why do we use Miller Lending and not somebody else? Because the original no closing cost mortgage, which Gordon invented in 1987, does not involve any rolling over of closing cost into your loan. That's what a lot of other people do. They just take the closing cost, they add it to the loan amount, and you're paying anyway. Not with Miller Lending. You just get a great rate, and then when the rates come down, you lower your monthly payment free of charge. Save thousands, closing cost. Save hundreds, lower your monthly payment when the rates come down. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Now finance and get $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 12/2/24.
The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tourney, culminating in the NBA Cup Championship in Vegas. First time? Here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers, bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD, that's code TIMD with no spaces, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
Hi, this is Mike Maniscalco. Do you want to increase the value of your home and decrease the cost of energy bills? If your home needs new windows, siding, doors, and more, look no further than your locally owned Window World, the Triangle's most trusted and America's largest exterior remodeler. A proud sponsor of the Canes, Window World will get your home looking great on the outside while saving on energy costs inside. Search Window World for a free quote today.
This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he
Right.
said in his interview today.
In all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time, he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. The Carolina Panthers have won 2 games in a row.
They're on a streak.
Again, I refer back to the great philosopher Lou Brown from Major League. 2 wins in succession is 2 in a row. 3 would be a winning streak, but I am willing to bend that rule based on the fact that it is the Panthers. And now they have 3 wins on the season.
We have to take it when we can get it.
Absolutely. All right, let's bring in the old guy from Panthers.com, the one and only Darin Gantt, who joins us to gloat about the second consecutive win. I don't think gloat is the right word. Real quick, first of all, how was the trip?
Oh, the trip was amazing. The Germans are a good hang. I am pro-Germany at this point. Here's what I like. Here's what I like about the Germans. Number one, they love to sing. Even after the music stops playing, they just continue singing, which is brilliant. Number two, walked into a local German pub the other day. I may or may not have been the only English speaker in the place. Held up one finger, said Pilsner. The guy said an amount of words, which I assumed was money. And I held him a card up in the air, and he said, no, 20 minimum for card. And I said, 2 Pilsners? And he said, 3. And I said, okay. And so we communicated. We crossed a bridge. We breached a barrier. We found common ground there in that place. It must have been what Reagan felt like in 87.
That is fantastic. I love starting this way with Darin Gantt. All right, now let's get to what we saw. So this is now the second consecutive week The numbers weren't eye-popping. He's not, headed for the Pro Bowl or anything.
You don't think 125 yards on 16 of 25 passing, a clean 4.9 yards per attempt.
Well, the numbers were bigger last week.
The bar has sufficiently been lowered. So.
Right, but the bar based on what we saw early, what we saw against Denver, for the most part, all I think we should have been looking for is does it look like he can play? And now for the last 2 weeks, it looks like he can play. If you put pieces around him and give him plays to execute properly down the field, he has a chance to play. That's what I was looking for, and I think back-to-back weeks, we absolutely saw that, and the Giants' pass rush is certainly a lot better than what we saw against New Orleans. I thought there was a lot to like from Bryce Young.
Yeah, there was. I mean, and there was positive momentum. There was forward progress. I think you know me. I'm a stickler for context, and context is everything. You are playing the league's leading sack team with some guy named Brian Burns, who had a game like the Atlanta game to start last year, where he was very visible early and then less so late. But a makeshift offensive line with two starters not in places, basically two new starters, held them to one sack. Bryce, while throwing the ball to a collection of receivers that includes two rookies, one of whom is undrafted, David Moore, and a 5'6" practice squatter named Devin Tompkins, got a win on the road, on a road game in Germany. So, again, did it help that Chuba Hubbard continues to work like a man with 10 kids? It does. Does it help that the Giants are not very good? It does. But it beats the alternative, and that's what I've been saying about him for the last couple of weeks is after what we saw from him start of the year, to see him have positive results, to do things that you latch on to, that's what everybody around here wanted to see. And what he did the first 2 weeks obviously wasn't good enough. So being able to change that narrative a little bit, put positive results on the board, I think it's something everybody around this place wanted to see.
And I think we have seen a lot of growth. I like Jalen Coker a lot. I think Jalen Coker looks like he can be part of your receiving core going forward. I don't know if he's a 2 or a 3 or a 4, but he looks like he can contribute, absolutely. We're seeing a lot of good things from J.T. Sanders at tight end. And I think we're seeing growth from Xavier Liggett as well. And I've liked all of that. I do like the fact that this was the first time that I thought Dave Canales really leaned into his best player on offense, and that has been Chuba Hubbard all season. There has been, and maybe it was about trying to get something more out of Miles Sanders, and I anticipate the carries will go down when Jonathan Brooks eventually starts playing. But I like the fact that they signed Chuba Hubbard. To me, it was either sign him or trade him, because it didn't make any sense to go into the summer or the early spring with him not having a contract. I like that bit of business.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and again, Chuba, I can't say this enough. Chuba's the kind of guy you don't mind investing in because he works like that. And he is an object lesson as much as, the third leading rusher in the NFL right now. So I just think that because he works the way he works, because he does all the things, I've said over and over again, look at what Dan Morgan has done. His very first move as GM was to extend Derek Brown's contract, which is a no-brainer. He was your best player.
Yeah.
But when you watched OTAs all offseason, before they started practicing at the beginning of sprint lines, who's out there? It's Derek Brown and Chuba Hubbard leading the lines on offense and defense. You find those guys who are cornerstone pieces that you want to build around. You invest in the people who work the hardest and put the most into the program. And, by the way, happen to be producing at a high level. That's what you want to spend your money on, and they did.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at Darin Gantt on Twitter. So, at this point, I think it's almost comical, and I don't know, and I'm not going to ask you to, editorialize this with me, but I can't think of a reason why Bryce Young shouldn't be the starter, barring injury or if his performance goes the other way. Like, I just think you have to let him go and continue to develop. And for whatever reason, Dave Canales just doesn't want to let it go, doesn't want to, admit it, but that's what coaches do. But can you think of a reason why Bryce shouldn't be the starter?
Well, I mean, the reason Andy started instead of Bryce is Andy was playing better football than Bryce. Right. And, now, I mean, it depends. Has Bryce put a game on the board that is as good as Andy's game in Las Vegas? No, he hasn't. That's kind of and I think that's part of the reason. And again, this is me speculating and playing shade tree psychologist, but I think that if you're looking for reasons why things are a certain way or whatever, I think that they want to keep Bryce in the mindset of continue to earn this job. You're doing great so far, positive step, but nothing is being ordained. Nothing is being given. So, I mean, they've done that for the last couple of weeks. Things have worked out okay. It's obviously when you go up against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, you're going to need more than 125 passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's just a guess based on 30 years of observation of professional football. But I think it's valid to keep him in a mindset of what can you do to get yourself better. And I thought it was telling the way Dave talked about it after the game the other day. Number one, people want to parse. Oh, he didn't confirm, whatever. I mean, when he says Bryce made a really great statement for himself today, I think that told you everything you needed to know in terms of the mechanics of it. But in the way Canales said, he had a pretty good day. And there were a couple things away from being a really good day. I think that's the soundbite not enough people are latching on to.
I agree with that.
It's important to hang on to those holes in the game, the flaws, the things you want to see him get better at. And so I think if you can keep him in that mindset of improvement, it's better for everybody.
Darin Gantt is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I 100% agree because by no means – now, I thought the game against the Saints was a better performance than the one against the Giants. No pressure, but I thought it was better because you could take the interception that he was charged with, and yes, he should have thrown maybe one or even two other interceptions that just were not completed by the Saints. But the pass to Liggett down the sideline, down the right sideline, which was ultimately an interception. I mean, it was a dynamite throw, and it should have been a completion. So I think the numbers would have been better. So I think that performance is probably a little bit better than this one. But I think the defense he faced here, at least early on, was a little bit better. And the circumstances surrounding this one were maybe a little bit more difficult. So grading on a curve. I like the performance. But, yeah, he missed some throws. But also I think he's shown that he can make the throws. And that's really what I want to see, and hopefully to continue to develop.
Yeah, and I think, too, this feels a little bit like dissecting the drive from Buffalo in the preseason.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
But that third down pass to Liggett in the fourth quarter to keep the clock rolling, keep everything moving a little bit, that's the throw. That's the one. That's an adult throw right there. And he made it at a time they really needed him to make it. Were the stats big? They weren't. All those things you said are true. But when they needed a play to be made, he made a couple of them. So I think all things considered good for Bryce. Yeah. But still, very much, I think everybody needs to be mindful of it's got to get better than that.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, look at what Aaron Rodgers is not doing for the Jets. He's not throwing for a lot of yards because for some reason they can't. And maybe it's just the Jets' disease that Aaron Rodgers could not cure, but we could all see that coming.
Is that like industrial disease?
A little bit. He could not immunize himself from Jets' disease. He couldn't. As much as he
others,
claimed.
I suppose. A public health danger to us all, can we say.
Darin Gantt is joining us here. All right, so DJ Wanham got on the field. It's been a minute, so it was good to see that. Jadeveon Clowney had an impact in the game. We're going to see at some point, we're going to see Jonathan Brooks and Adam Thielen come back. So peer into the future. Tell me about what we can expect, hopefully can expect going forward.
Well, here's the thing, and again, these next 7 games, and Cassie Hill's getting ready to put up a Know Your Foe on Panthers.com to break down the back half of the schedule. But I think it's important to remember it's a lot harder than what we've been looking at the last 3 weeks.
Sure.
You know, the Eagles are in there, the Chiefs are in there. You know, the Cowboys looked a lot tougher, you know, 2 weeks ago than it does right now. The Bucks, obviously, Atlanta again, that's tougher. And so at the beginning of the season, we talked about this, and I think I told a lot of people, this sort of felt like a 5 or 6 win team.
Yeah.
And progress would look like win 5 or 6 games, show that you're good at a couple particular things, and then continue to build. Because, listen, you mentioned the example of Clowney and Wanham, and I think it's important. That's the very first time they've had the 2 guys at outside linebacker that they intended to have going into this season. All that is the very most important part of this defense. So, you know, obviously this hasn't gone the way anybody anticipated early on, but seeing those 2 guys produce, I think validates the fact that, maybe Ejiro Evero does know what he's doing after all. Maybe he is a competent defensive coordinator. Some of the goofiest stuff I deal with in the mailbag on a regular basis are people who want to fire the defensive coordinator. I'm like, do you see who he's out there coaching?
Right. That's true.
I mean, there were stretches in there where he had one of his starting front 7 going into the year, and that one was Shy Tuttle. So I think it's just been tough for those guys all year based on personnel. So you can see over the next 7 weeks that Wanham is a part you want to build around. Is Jadeveon Clowney a part of the long term here? We'll find out. But I think they've got a bunch of draft picks, 9 total and 8 in the first 5 rounds, that they're going to add a bunch of parts on defense. And if one of those parts is somebody with promise as a pass rusher, I mean, to me, I don't want to get bound up in quarterback talk. There are a lot of ways you can fill that position for 2025 and beyond. But to me, if you're picking in the top 10 and have an opportunity to address pass rusher, gosh, man, that seems like something you would want to do with this team as it stands right now, because I'll take you back. And again, I am old. In 1995, Lamar Lathan was pretty good. He came in as a free agent from Houston and put up good results. The next year, when you put Kevin Green on the other side from him, it was a force multiplier. Not only did you add a guy who is now in the Hall of Fame, but it made the other guy that much better. So imagine with what you've seen out of Wanham for the last couple of years and then on Sunday, and imagine adding somebody with young legs. Imagine adding that, you know, and I don't want to get irresponsible and saying the names of college football players that I haven't seen with my own 2 eyes. Self-awareness. I would just be saying names, but imagine putting that top-end pass rusher on the other side from him. Imagine adding another inside linebacker, somebody who can play behind Josie Jewell, Trevin Wallace. Imagine somebody else up front with A'Shawn Robinson and Derek Brown. You know, and you can kind of see the path forward, that Dr. Strange 14 million pathways. Suddenly there are more of them available, because I just think that they've got some good coaches in place. They've got some good players. They just need more people, and they need time.
I agree. They're it is really about personnel. I think Ejiro Evero is a good coach. It's not about that.
And again, on the other side of the ball, too, I mean, I think quarterback talk is going to take over this offseason, because it always does.
Yeah.
You know, and I mentioned pass rusher. Wide receiver is another one of those places. There are a lot of names at the top of this draft who happen to play wide receiver, and that's something they can't ignore, because as much as you like Jalen Coker, he's still an undrafted rookie from Holy Cross. There's a reason he was undrafted and from Holy Cross. So you can upgrade there. You can't, you know, we're seeing stuff from Xavier League, but he's not, I don't know that he's that guy yet. So they're going to have to continue to look for parts on both sides of the ball.
We are going to talk more about this. Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. Ask the old guy. Everything you need at Panthers.com. At Darin Gantt with 2 T's for extra talent. My friend, I will talk to you down the road. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll have you a mailbag up on Panthers.com tomorrow. I'm trying to be on bye week schedule, too, around here.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for giving us some time on your bye week. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. See y'all.
You got it. One-timers next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
enrollment for health insurance is here. But don't worry, North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Visit us online at actce.com to schedule a demo. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
According to the latest report on farmland loss in the United States, North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. If you own land that may be converted from agricultural use, the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services may be able to help. Grants for the purchase of development rights are available through the North Carolina Agricultural Development and Farmland Preservation Trust Fund. Landowners can learn more at ncadfp.org.
Having health insurance is important. So, if you or anyone in your family has Medicaid or CHIP, listen up. Check your mail for a renewal form from your state. Complete the form and mail it back right away so you don't lose your coverage. If you do lose Medicaid or CHIP, visit healthcare.gov to see if you're eligible to enroll in a low-cost, quality health plan. Keep your family covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? Next time you see a man or woman in uniform, why not stop and thank them for their service to our country? And what about the nurse at the hospital or the cafeteria worker serving your plate? A smile and a word of thanks goes a long way. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind to everybody. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he said in his interview today.
In all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time, he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Top of the hour, we'll look at the state of the NFL playoffs, which are interesting, to be honest. Right now, it's time for one-timers.
We have gremlins in our little displays here, but one thing that might be a little gremlin is our Carolina Panthers after they beat teams, because Adam Schefter is guessing that Daniel Jones might not see another snap with the Giants after last week's performance. So, do you think the Panthers have continued their streak of sort of firing, not really firing Daniel Jones, but do you believe Adam Schefter is right in this assumption?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure it's about the Panthers, but Daniel Jones has not distinguished himself as a passer. Look, I've said this before. The fact that he was drafted, 8th overall, either 6th or 8th, whatever it was, is mind-blowing to me. I watched him in college, and I saw him he was a great college quarterback, but you knew that as a passer, it was not going to translate. He's got a good enough arm, not a great arm, good enough arm. He's got great size. He is a backup. I don't understand why you drafted a backup high in the first round.
All right, well, kind of sticking to the semi-Panthers theme, the Chicago Bears gave the boot to OC Shane Waldron. So they're still using their QB quarterback, Caleb Williams. Are they on track to making the next Bryce Young? I mean, they are Panthers Junior 2.0. So do you see this being a positive for him, as if Shane was the problem, or something different?
The problem is the Bears. Literally, they've never had great quarterback play, ever. So the problem is the Bears. Good luck to Thomas Brown, former Panthers offensive coordinator. He's now taken over in Chicago. Good luck to him.
Well, and last but not least, everyone is saying that Aaron Rodgers is back / healthy. So what happened?
No, he's just not good. He might be healthy, but he's old and he's slow, and he's not as accurate as he used to be. It's end of discussion. He just isn't that good. I mean, he's old.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Last night was a big Monday Night Football win at home for the Miami Dolphins, which it felt like a do or die for their season, so it would have been a great game to wager on the underdog. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and with football past the halfway point, teams are working towards those playoffs, and hockey is getting into the swing of their regular season, so there's so many routes you could take when making a wager. Whether you prefer the broad bets, like who's winning or losing a game, or you like being very calculated and diving into the details like betting shots on goal or how many rushing yards a player might get, BetMGM has you covered for all of it. With options like betting the money line, prop bets, live bets, same-game parlays, BetMGM also offers fun daily promotions. All brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today and please gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
'Tis the season for family and friends. 'Tis the season for gifting. And 'tis the season for making holiday dreams come true. 'Tis the season for using the old-timey contraction 'tis. And 'tis the time of year for holiday scratch-offs. With over $85 million in total prizes, 'tis the best gift of all.
'Tis the season to gift endless joy with holiday scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.06 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If you're like most Americans, you have a ton of credit card debt, and you're paying insane interest rates on that debt every month. Same for car loans and personal loans. Stop getting ripped off. Let Loan Pronto consolidate that debt for you at a significantly lower rate using the equity in your home. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit can get you up to $500,000 so you can consolidate your debt in as fast as 5 days. Their average client saves over $1,000 every month by doing this. Right now is the best time to act. With an Express Equity Line of Credit, you can access up to 90% of your home's equity, usually without an appraisal. Don't put it off. Get your financial house in order for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now to see what you can save. It's a free quote, and there's no credit pull, unlike those other guys. Call now, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
When it comes to football and hockey, Abbey Road Tavern and Grill is the road to a good time. NHL, NFL, and college game watching at its best. Play NFL Pick'em every 1 p.m. Sunday game to win a $25 gift card. Plus, halftime raffles for big ticket items. Enjoy award-winning burgers, biggest wings, killer beer specials, full bar, and high-def TVs sound on. In Cary, catch the games at the original Abbey Road Tavern and Grill on West Chatham. In Apex, head to Abbey Road on Center Street. Games, great food, and good times. AbbeyRoadNC.com.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
They have some suggestions for sports writers. For instance, a team losing a game is not a disaster. Home runs are homers, not dingers, not jacks, not bombs. Can I use tater?
I know. Can we say going yard?
Going, oh, yes.
Right.
Can I say big flies?
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Right.
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here? I think that Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts will hit multiple big jacks all over the place.
Or it'll be a disastrous loss.
And it will be a disastrous loss for the Yankees. Dodgers in 6. Should have been Dodgers in 6. The Yankees should have won Game 5. They didn't want to. But it's all right. They're bringing back Aaron Boone.
Yeah.
To not stress fundamentals.
Yeah. And we still
all
use
year.
our colorful language that's FCC approved.
Right. That was all about the Associated Press. What was it? The AP Style book or something like that, where they try to set the norms for journalistic jargon.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to get the New York Times, and I don't know if they still do this. They will, if they were writing an article about me, the radio host Adam Gold, and then when they reference me later, it would say Mr. Gold. That is a style for the New York Times. A little bit more formal. Most people wouldn't do that, right? They'll, Adam or Gold or whatever. They don't do that with the New York Times. It's a little bit more formal. The Associated Press may be pinky out when they drink.
Right. Probably are.
Tea.
Mm-hmm.
Just
of course.
tea.
Only tea.
Just tea. All right, coming up in a little bit, we'll talk to Cory Smith of Pack Pride. What happened to State this year? I can't tell you how many times that's been asked of me. I was on with Mac and Bone this morning on WFNZ in Charlotte. By the way, hi, everybody in Charlotte.
Yeah, after they were done doing their German dance with their lederhosen.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
It's on Twitter.
Oh, good. I'll have to check it out. But all the conversations that I have, and I think even Jeff Rickard, who does like a late morning show down there, also asked me this yesterday. Well, what's going on with Dave Doran? Is it like I don't think there's anything going on with Dave Doran. I think he is fine. I think if and I'm not suggesting he should or would do this, if Dave Doeren decided he was done, he wanted to retire, he could retire, and he did a great job at NC State. He really did. Now, did they win as much as he would have liked or fans would have liked? No, they fell short of that. But you show me a time, and it's an extended period of time that once he got it up to speed, up and running, I mean, they were consistently good, put guys in the league like year after year after year. So there's been a ton of good that Dave Doeren has done. The program is, I mean, we haven't had even a whiff of anything untoward about that program. They are to be commended for how good that program is. Now, would we have liked them to win more? Would we have liked this year specifically to have turned out better? Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to win either at Georgia Tech or at North Carolina to play in a bowl game. Nobody saw that coming. We were talking about 9, maybe 10 wins this year. It just hasn't gone well. I can't even explain why they haven't been able to run the ball.
Yeah.
I can't explain that. But we'll talk to Cory Smith about that coming up in about 15 or so minutes. All right. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about the National Football League and the playoffs, and we'll consider this our take 2. So right now, the top 2 teams on either side are in the AFC, Kansas City, in the NFC, Detroit. Kansas City continues to win in spite of themselves. They are 8-0. The Lions tried everything they could to lose at Houston.
They did.
And the Lions were unsuccessful in losing.
Mm-hmm.
They won again. Jared Goff made a lot of mistakes, also did some good things. The kicker, I saw the kick again yesterday.
Both of them.
Well, I saw the game winner yesterday, and I saw it rather this morning. And I'm still blown away that ball didn't hit the upright.
Exactly.
Right? It was straight as a string and was essentially you probably could have fit maybe a deck of cards in between the ball and the goalpost.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It looked like if one of the fans had been yelling loud enough on the other side, it might have knocked it into the thing. Like it was that close.
Any breeze at all.
Yeah.
And
Did someone sneeze?
It's outside. Yeah, it's outside the goalpost. But the Lions won, which I think might be as much about Houston as it is about Detroit. So I wanted to take a look with 7 games to go. Now we're heading into Week 11, and some teams will have an extra game to play. I think Miami has 8 games left to play. There's still some teams with 8 games left to play. But for the most part, it's teams with 7 left. Kansas City is the 1 seed. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Houston right now sitting as the other division leaders. Houston is the only competent team in that division.
Yeah.
Tennessee is incompetent. The Colts are incompetent. The fact that Anthony Richardson isn't playing and Joe Flacco says everything you need to know about, like, I'm not saying that Anthony Richardson deserves to play, but everything you need to know about that organization, that you're using Joe Flacco when, I mean, the playoffs are there for you. I mean, I think there are 2 games out, but again, Houston isn't all that good. They have not proven to be all that good this year. They lost to the Jets.
They did.
The NFC North is going to be wild down the stretch. Pittsburgh has a narrow lead over Baltimore, who, I mean, might be the best team not named Kansas City in the AFC. I don't know. But right now, Baltimore is the 5 seed. They will play at Houston. The Chargers, who I don't think are that good, are the 6, would be playing at Pittsburgh. Denver, who I know isn't that good, but Sean Payton is a great coach. I have reluctantly say that, in spite of the fact that I can't stand him.
Right.
But right now they are the 7 at 5-5.
I know.
So Indianapolis and Cincinnati are 1 game back at 4-6.
The AFC East is stupid.
Well, yeah, everybody's. Well,
they're all stupid.
with that said, the Jets at 3-7. And Miami, I guess, is 3-7, 3-6. No. Yeah, I think Miami's 3-6.
Yes, they're now 3-6.
Right,
But
so-
the Bills are at the top at 8-2, and
Oh,
then
no, the
everybody
Bills are
else.
That's going to be over. The Bills have
whatever.
Bills have a difficult schedule coming up. But the magic number is 3.
Yes.
We're talking about a magic number in the National Football League 2 weeks before Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
So
no other division has a gap like that.
right, no, because the other 3 teams are terrible. The Patriots are bad. The Jets are bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Dolphins are capable if they can kind of put something together here.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to challenge the Bills. But the Dolphins could challenge for a playoff spot.
Sure.
At 3-6 with 8 games left in front of them. If the Dolphins went 6-2, 9-8. If you win the right games, 9-8 is going to get you. I believe 9-8 will be the number 7 seed.
Yeah.
In the AFC. Cincinnati could get that. We're just waiting. We're just waiting for Cincinnati to look. Oh, that's right. That's who you are.
They remembered how to
Right?
play.
And they're 4-6. 5-2 the rest of the way, I think could get Cincinnati in. And they're good enough to be better than that.
Oh, yeah.
But
They
you still have to win those games.
They could easily have 2 more wins than they do now.
I don't believe I think they have two left with Pittsburgh.
Right.
And 1 left with Cleveland. So Cleveland's not going to be easy because they have a decent defense. Jameis Winston, you never know what you're going to get. You come up against good Jameis, you could be in trouble because they do have some weapons over there. The Browns are better than bad. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not like a total pushover. That is a very difficult division. There were a lot of people who thought Cleveland was going to win that division.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be that easy to beat them. But Cincinnati could easily get to 9-8. Easily is probably doing a lot of work there. But they could even get to 10 wins based on their talent levels, certainly offensively. Defense doesn't look like it's all that. That's in the AFC. What? One more thing about it. There are 7 teams in the AFC that have 3 or fewer wins.
Yes.
That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Reverse parity.
I know.
That's what it is. It's reverse parity.
Fascinating. This season is fascinating.
My gosh, yeah. In the NFC, Detroit leads the way. Philadelphia, by virtue of Washington's loss to Pittsburgh, has now assumed control of the NFC East. Come on, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has a ticket. Atlanta leads the NFC South. Not a good division.
No.
Not a good division. Well, I joked. I mean, the Panthers could still. Arizona leads the NFC West. I am not ready yet to declare Arizona good. Just because you beat the Jets doesn't make you good.
Mm-mm.
Right?
Yeah,
Please
I know.
stop.
Especially with the 49ers getting their guys back, like Christian and Debo.
Yes, if 49ers are going to have to learn how to kick a field goal.
Yeah, there's that too.
3 out of 6 and makeable field goals.
Is wide right.
And my gosh,
Every
they were
time.
bad. Minnesota is the 5. Washington is the 6. Green Bay at 6-3 is the 7. San Francisco at 5-4. I think you have a better chance of catching Arizona than you do of catching Green Bay. But at some point, we're going to have to figure out why Kyle Shanahan keeps blowing leads.
Yeah, double-digit ones, too.
Yeah, well, two
in the
of them,
fourth quarter.
2 of them this year in the division against the Rams and the Cardinals. The one against the Cardinals, I believe, was in San Jose, not at Arizona. The one against the Rams, although maybe I have that flipped, I thought the one against the Rams was on the road. Here's the thing. Sometimes your team isn't nearly as good as the personnel because every year is different. They have had a lot of injuries. But you get Juwan Jennings is back playing. Ricky Pearsall looks like a good receiver. You've got George Kittle. Deebo Samuel comes back. You should have enough as long as Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy and your offensive line stays healthy. They could put together a nice run here and catch Arizona. But after that, I don't think there's much in the NFC either. We have so many bad football teams.
Yeah.
In the National Football League this year. Way more bad football teams than we've got good football teams.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest curiosity is how many of those good football teams look like good football teams because they've played a lot of bad football teams.
Yeah, or they're actually good. That's a big question.
I like the Buffalo Bills, but go look at who they've beaten this year.
Yeah.
Not a lot of good.
Yeah.
They've beaten a lot of bad. Beat the Jets twice. Right? I think they beat the Jets twice. Maybe it was the Dolphins they beat twice. They still have both games left with the Patriots. That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, the whole division is bad, not named the Bills. But
yep.
I'm just not sure how good the Bills are. Lost to the Ravens, lost to Houston. Those are their two losses.
Right.
Everybody else that they beat, it's kind of just meh.
Yeah. The Cardinals, Jaguars, Titans.
Yeah. The Bills went out to Arizona, and I think it was at Arizona, and won that game, I believe, comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not sure. I'm not ready to buy into Arizona either. But as much as I like the Bills, it bears, reminding everybody that I haven't beaten anybody yet.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of which, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on. Matter of fact, we'll get to it a little bit in our next segment. When I was looking at the college football playoff players, not the athletes, but the teams, it struck me that while Indiana is undefeated, they are 10-0 on the season. They have 2 games left. They have Ohio State and they have Purdue. Ohio State is in Columbus. Unlikely to win that, but we'll see. Purdue is at home in Bloomington, and Purdue is awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful. The total record of the teams that Indiana has beaten is significantly under 500. The combined record of the teams they beat out of the league, Florida International, Western Illinois, and Charlotte, 9 wins, 19 losses. Those are their 3 non-conference games. Way to stretch yourself. The combined record of the teams that they have beaten in the Big Ten, 31-34. In conference play, 16-29. They have beaten 0 teams with a winning record in league play. None.
Wow.
In fact, everybody that they have played inside their league is under 500 right now. All of them. So, when we add it all up at the end, is Indiana going to, if they lose to Ohio State and then they beat Purdue, is Indiana going to get the benefit of the doubt because they're whatever and won?
Right.
I don't think so. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. We'll find out. We won't find out anything tonight. No. So let's take a break. Cory Smith, Pack Pride's going to join us to talk about the Wolfpack. What has gone wrong, and where did Casey Concepcion go? Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The Panthers finally won a game, but let's not forget who did it. Leading the team in tackles, a rookie, Damani Richardson. Leading the team in receiving, Jatavian Sanders, a rookie. Leading the team second in receiving, another rookie, Jalen Coker. Xavier Legette, another rookie, third. You have to let the young guys take over if you want to have success in Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and we're going to prove it to you because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel is giving everyone, not just new customers, everyone, 3 months of NBA League Pass. And all you have to do to take advantage of this offer is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. And because you know my name, FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves are in Portland. Check it out. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with Upfit Solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed Upfit Solutions from Van Products.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Pinch me, because Lobster's back at Carolina Ale House. This fan favorite's only available through the end of the year, so head for your closest Carolina Ale House and load up on lobster. Enjoy your favorites or try something new like lobster seafood scampi, surf and turf, grouper fingers, and more. And as long as you're treating yourself, go all out with dessert too. Top off your lobster meal with a nice warm brookie with ice cream on top. Visit any Carolina Ale House in the Triangle and treat yourself this fall. #AleYeah.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. Zero Res is just like the rest of us. They've seen what North Carolina has been through these last few months, and they want to help. In addition to that, they want you to have your house clean for the holidays. That's why Zero Res is hosting a food drive this year. When you get 3 rooms cleaned and donate a non-perishable food item, they'll clean a 4th room for free. Being thankful for what we have makes us realize we can do more for those that don't have as much. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000.
Total Wireless totally has your back this holiday season. We give you up to 4 free 5G phones when you switch to the Total 5G Plus Unlimited plan. That's 4 gifts, 1 store. Plus, enjoy unlimited data that never slows you down. All for $30 a month or less when you get 4 lines. That's a holiday plan we can all get behind. Visit your local Total Wireless store to switch today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. College football playoff rankings, the fake rankings, because the real ones don't come out until after the conference championship games. 8:30 tonight, in between games of the Champions Classic. Michigan State and Kansas first. Duke and Kentucky will be the nightcap. That's scheduled to start just after 9. So Reese Davis and company can pretend that these college football rankings matter. How many ACC teams will we hear? My prediction, like last week, 1. That's it. Only the team they project to finish first. But anyway, before we get to that, and we will talk about it briefly before we get out of here, this was supposed to be the 9, maybe 10-win season for NC State. Right now, at Georgia Tech, at North Carolina. Got to get one of them to get bowl eligible. It has not been a good year, even though I think the personnel's better than it was a year ago. Cory Smith from Pack Pride, Cory Smith on Twitter, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Where did this go off the rails?
Oh, boy, that's a great question. I mean, I think, the whole idea for this season was based on the fact that you brought in, not only talented players through the transfer portal to add to what you had, and a Kevin Concepcion and bringing in Aiden White back, and you had Davin Van coming back on defense. You bring in a Grayson McCall. You look at those pieces, Jordan Waters, you look at what they had done in, their recent history and their college careers, and the mindset was, if those guys can get the protection they need on the offensive line, they should be really, really good. Grayson McCall, even before the injury, looked like a shell of himself. Didn't look like the quarterback that I think people expected coming in. Jordan Waters hasn't been able to break tackles at a decent rate at all this season, and you saw it, for whatever reason, they tried to run him, 11 times this past weekend against Duke, despite, the fact that Hollywood Smothers is clearly looking the better running back here recently. The offensive line has been good in pass protection, really bad in run protection, and, the defense, for all of its, growth that we've seen over the last few weeks, in the big games, has missed entirely too many tackles. They missed 15 this past weekend against Duke. That's the most they've had against a Power 4 opponent all season. And, they've missed assignments when it comes to, being able to, stop big plays from happening. And that's something that we've seen on a consistent basis against this team all season long. Not putting anything on the defense this past weekend, the defense helped the offense in a major way this past weekend. But, you wanted to see growth throughout the season for the defense. You're seeing that finally. It's the offense that's you're still waiting on them to catch up outside of, what they accomplished against Stanford. But we now know, and I think we knew going into that one, Stanford's just not a very good team. So the offense you have to look at the everything else from that scope.
Cory Smith from Pack Pride is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. And I say this, I like C.J. Bailey. I think the future is great with C.J. Bailey, and I think it will be better if they can figure out a way to keep their own rather than go out and get somebody else's. Meaning don't use the transfer portal to bring in a quarterback, which, for various reasons, we could agree has not gone well in each of the last 2 seasons. I do think Florida State's experiencing this, that when it doesn't go well and you're using the portal, it just seems like it can go the other way. It isn't just a normal down year or disappointing season. It becomes famously bad. Now, I'm not saying that has happened with NC State because I don't think it has been that bad. Florida State is just, how is that team 1-9? First time ever that a preseason top 10 team was 1-9, ever, in the history of college football. Cory Smith from Pack Pride, is joining us here. Justin Jolie, I think we love Justin Jolie. I think Noah Rogers is good. I think Grimes is good. I love, and I think Waters is good. He hasn't been great, obviously. He hasn't even been very good. He's just been, at best, okay. But all of these additions, based on what they also had, should have made this offense much more difficult to stop. Why has the offense not taken a step forward at all? And again, without getting too deep into it, is everything okay with Kevin Concepcion? Because I know we had, I think, 1 carry last week. I can't understand why he has been not even a factor the last few weeks.
Yeah, neither can I really. That's kind of the thing. Obviously you go back to, like we said, the Stanford game. He played well in that game. Did have a couple touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing. But they were both short yardage situations. I think one of them was a direct snap, if I remember correctly, from a couple yards out. So, it's not like he's having these big dynamic game-breaking type touchdowns. And I think that's part of the issue across the board right now is you're not having those, like a lot of times last year where NC State was doing well and at times this year where they've done well is having those, long drives, but they've had explosive plays as well that have led to touchdowns. And you've had explosive plays several times this year. You think back to this past weekend, like Justin Jolie with some really big catches, Wesley Grimes, really big catches, both times get you into the red zone. And 4 times they kicked field goals. And I would venture to say if it wasn't a 4th and 8 situation from the 16-yard line inside the red zone with them being down by 2 scores, they probably, if it's within 3 or within 6 points, they probably go for a field goal there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at this from a scope of, they did score 1 touchdown in the red zone. Well, that one was kind of forced upon them, and luckily they did come away with it. I think it's been a mixture of 2 things. Number one, it's just been the play calling. Regardless of who's been in there, the play calling all year long from Robert and I has just not been enough. The plays that, again, like I said, you think back to the Stanford game, a 94-yard touchdown from Jordan Waters, which was great, but, that's not play calling. That's him, getting himself open and running it in. And then another one, the bigger touchdowns they've had over the past few weeks, the game breaker against Cal was Hollywood Smothers breaking off one for 40-plus yards. And then, the next week against Stanford, he does the same thing with a big touchdown as well. Like, none of this is, longer methodical drives being able to finish with, a quality, a touchdown in the red zone. It's just been, playmakers doing their thing, and you get away with it on a weekly basis. But the thing for right now, and number 2 is obviously, like we said, the injury to Grayson McCall changes things. And I think they've kind of had to get back in a rhythm. That doesn't explain what happened this past weekend, though, which I think is the biggest frustration, and where you go back to, C.J. Bailey's been progressing each and every single week. Unfortunately, the play calling hasn't. I mean, you don't call, whether it's your game script or not, when you start from the 4-yard line and you're backed up on the first play, you don't call an RPO with a true freshman quarterback on the second play that results in a safety. He keeps the ball, and it's like, maybe a senior quarterback plays a little bit different there, actually hands it off. But, what are we doing?
Right, and I'll throw into the mix that Duke is among the best teams in the country at tackles for loss. So
they had 77 coming into last week, and they had 8 this past weekend. So
they sort of live in your backfield, and the play right before it was a tackle for loss. So they were
game script, Adam. Game script.
They were already into that zone. Look, in retrospect, and I thought State was going to win the game. In retrospect, the better team probably won. I don't know that Duke is great, and I understand that State's probably got theoretically deeper, a deeper bench or more, better personnel. But man, I watch the Blue Devils. They do a lot of really good things. They don't run it either. I mean, I've joked about this. How in the world did Star Thomas get 36 yards rushing? I never saw him cross the line of scrimmage. Not once. I mean, I didn't watch every play of the game. I don't remember him crossing the line of scrimmage. I remember him fighting for a loss of 2. That's not like the best play I saw out of Star Thomas, whether it was catching the ball or running it. So I think we're starting to see better. I thought from the Cal game on, I thought State's defense was good. I thought that defense won the game against Cal with the way they played in the second half, especially the fourth quarter. I mean, they absolutely choked the Golden Bears offense into submission. But, they gave up some plays down the field to the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I think that's part of the frustration here is the fact that, the defense did its job. I went back and, added up all the numbers. One of the field goals was on a drive that went 3 plays, 0 yards after a turnover. Another drive was, a drive that went 3 plays, 20 yards. They started inside the red zone after a fumble. from NC State that led to them being able to get a touchdown. So that's 10 points that you can't even really put on your defense. That's essentially handed to Duke. And then, another drop, obviously the 2 points that you get for a safety. And then the defense giving you, 3 points essentially by, the Tamarcus Cooley fumble recovery that he brings back, and they kick a field goal right before the end of the first half. So, all of those things are basically the defense, giving you points or the offense kind of taking them off the board and forcing the defense into a tough situation. So I just, the gashing plays against Stanford and obviously against Cal the previous week, those are things that NC State has got to cut down on from a defensive standpoint. But about 90% of the snaps that they're taking, they're limiting what the other team is doing, and they're forcing you into mistakes. And the issue is right now the offense is just, as much as Dave Doran likes to talk about complimentary football, they're absolutely not playing it right now.
No, and they get no compliments. Cory Smith, Pack Pride at @Cory Smith on Twitter. Let's close on the league. Somebody's going to win, and it looks like unless Miami wants to mix in another loss, it'll be SMU and Miami playing for the title in Charlotte coming up in a few weeks. How do you see the league and the playoff playing out? Is it just the 3 seed or the 4 seed, depending on what the record is for that team, and nobody else, or do you see another team sneaking in?
Yeah, I think it's likely if you're going to get 2 teams in, it's going to need to be, an undefeated SMU getting there, and then Miami either knocking them off or it probably needs to be Miami knocking them off, and then the committee saying SMU deserves to be in because they got to this point. That's probably the only way that you're going to get 2 in, because I agree with you. I think when they come down with it tonight, it's probably going to be SMU in that, number 4 seed, the last conference champion from a Power 4 conference that's going to get in, and then probably have Miami at, 13, 14, somewhere around there, given the fact that they've only lost 1 game. It was a tight game against Georgia Tech. I get that it's Georgia Tech, but it's on the road. It's a difficult, environment. So I think there's still time for a team like Miami to recover from this. But, a team like Pitt, they were, already kind of viewed as a team that's on the outside looking in anyways. SMU was kind of put at number 13, I believe, last week, if I remember correctly. So in order for a team like Miami, another team from the ACC to get in, it needs to be a team that has a Heisman contender, Cam Ward, has, the name value, Miami, and, at the same time has the record to back it up. And I think if they only have 1 loss the rest of the way, they get into the ACC championship game. If they win it, obviously they're in. But if they lose it, there's still a discussion point for them. But I think the ideal scenario here is Miami getting there, beating SMU, and then, both of them being able to get into the college football playoff.
Think it's if Clemson beats Pitt handily and then thumps South Carolina, do you think 10-2 Clemson has a chance?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, again, the toughest part about all of it is the fact that you lost at home and you lost to Georgia at the beginning of the season the way you did. So, yes, there's only 1 conference loss, but being, where they're at in the scope of things, given the fact that, the 1 game that you had against a likely college football playoff team, you lost to in such convincing fashion. And Georgia doesn't look like the team that people thought they would be, before the season either, with a couple losses now at this point.
No.
So I don't think for Clemson that you really have a discussion point unless you're able to somehow leap Miami, get to the ACC championship game, they win it. I think either way, the 1-loss team or the 2-loss team to get to the ACC championship, they have to win it.
Yeah.
And an undefeated SMU, fall and end up, falling to the 11th, 12th seed, something along those lines.
Yeah, we won't have a 3-loss ACT team in the college football playoff. We just will not. And Cory Smith, Pack Pride at @Cory Smith. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time. We'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, Adam.
You too. Look, I'm just and it's mostly about the Big Ten for me. By the way, the SEC is going to have a 2-loss team, meaning a 2-conference loss team in the SEC championship game, unless Tennessee goes to Georgia and wins that game. If Tennessee wins at Georgia, it's going to be Tennessee and the winner of Texas A&M. I guess Tennessee could go to Vanderbilt and lose. Alabama did. But the SEC is, well, as they will tell you, beating each other up. Whereas in the ACC, you're losing to bad teams. That's just how the narrative works. You have to learn the rules. You must learn the rules of engagement if you're talking about the college football playoff. But I am looking at 2 teams in the Big Ten. Penn State, which has beaten no teams in the league with a winning record. The best teams that Penn State has beaten in the Big Ten are 3-3 Illinois and 3-3 Wisconsin. That's it. Best wins. Their non-conference win, their best win was West Virginia, who was 5-4. And Penn State's got Purdue on the road left. Purdue is terrible. At Minnesota, the week before the end of the regular season, that is actually a difficult game based on record. But I would point this out. North Carolina won there. And then they closed the season at home against Maryland. Penn State is likely going to be 11-1, with the one loss being at home to Ohio State. And they're going to be probably playing a home game in the college football playoff, and I would like to know why. Why? Are we going to ever really care about who you played? And the answer is, of course not. Of course not. Indiana, same thing. Indiana beat nobody in the non-conference. They have not beaten a team in the Big Ten with a winning record at all in conference play. And they only have one win over a team in conference play that has an overall winning record, and that record is 5-4. I didn't write the team names next to them, so I don't know which one that is, but these are the records, overall records of the teams they have beaten inside the league. 4-5, 4-5, 4-5, 5-4, 5-5, 4-5, 5-5. Nothing but mediocrity on Illinois' schedule. Keep that in mind when people tell you how disrespected Indiana has been by the College Football Playoff Committee tonight, even though tonight doesn't matter. All right, we'll come back. We will stretch. That's what we do. Fun stuff that is happening around the globe, and maybe stuff to eat. I have no idea. And then we will place bets next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Oh, the NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do to catch every tip-off, every buzzer beater, every dunk is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
I am Bruno Hinojosa and I live in Asheville. I work in construction and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. I went to their website, applied, and got covered. Doctor visits, yearly checkups, and even emergency care if I need it. Being a business owner can be stressful at times, but knowing that I got covered, it just takes weight off my shoulders. And I can get the care that I need when I need it at low or no cost. And it's one less thing I need to worry about now.
NC Medicaid is for more people.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
According to the latest report on farmland loss in the United States, North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. If you own land that may be converted from agricultural use, the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services may be able to help. Grants for the purchase of development rights are available through the North Carolina Agricultural Development and Farmland Preservation Trust Fund. Landowners can learn more at ncadfp.org.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a Generac home standby generator. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Have you lost North Carolina Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we...
Seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. We're going to place bets in a moment. Trying to think, was I good yesterday? No. Excellent. I'm so glad I didn't put anything on those. All right, let's stretch.
Okay, so I've got all kinds of stuff today. So first and foremost, I saw this and I thought it was interesting. The top NFL jerseys that are selling this season. So they've got the top 10, and I feel like I should start with number 10 because I want you to guess who the first one is. So do you want to tell your prediction
first? The top
first?
selling NFL jersey this year.
This season.
This season, top selling NFL jersey is... Travis Kelce.
No, which that would make sense because of the Taylor
Swifties.
Swift fans.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said it.
No, actually, I'll tell you in just a second. Number 10 is Max Crosby. That kind of surprised me more than anything. That Max Crosby.
Because there's two X's on his name, Max. I don't know, which is it on the jersey?
No clue.
I don't get it.
Then Justin Jefferson. That makes sense.
Yeah.
8 is Josh Allen. 7, CeeDee Lamb. 6 is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I actually thought about saying him. I thought it would be a Lion. But
I know, because he was also on that show that I can never remember what it's called, but they dive into his life a little deeper and you get to know him. Well, whatever.
Okay.
So we got to know him there. Commanders, Jaden Daniels is number 5. Hutchinson is number 4. Patrick Mahomes, number 3. Poor Caleb Williams for the Bears is number 2. And number 1 is CJ Stroud.
Okay, that makes sense based on last year and how many people live in Houston.
Exactly. So maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe some Cowboys fans or something decided to be Texan fans because of CJ Stroud. I don't know, but he's the number 1 selling jersey as of right now this season, which I thought was interesting. Travis Kelce was not in there anywhere. Swifties are letting him down, I suppose.
Yes.
Now, one thing that will not be letting you down is Ray Gunn. Remember her she's a break dancer?
Yes. She retired, right?
Well, good news. If you liked what she did.
She's coming back?
Yes. She is not done yet.
That was a short retirement.
Last week is when we first heard about this devastating news of the Australian breakdancing superstar, Ray Gunn, abandoning.
Doing a lot of work there, devastating.
Exactly. Abandoning her sport of choice. However, she said she will not be dumped on after her routine in Paris. She said, quote, I am still going to be a part of the community jams, or I'd like to go to community jams and still dance and still break. I'm not retiring. You try and stop me. I'm not ever going to stop dancing. And then she later said, you can't retire from an art form, so that's why I'm never going to stop. So...
well, good.
That's what she called it, was an art form.
Good.
But yeah, good for what? Whatever makes you happy. I just don't be at the Olympics in 4 more years.
I just appreciate that somebody like that, honestly, I'm not joking, has a following, has support.
Oh, yeah.
All of that. I'm happy for that.
Right.
It shows me that maybe as a species we're not doomed.
Maybe. I mean, she was a great Halloween costume this year. I can't remember if it was someone on the Vikings team, but a football player totally did her dance on the field, I think, after their touchdown. So, I mean, she's still out there. She's still making waves. One way or another, she's still making waves. One thing that we are not still doing, technically, I think sometimes we do, ties are not as common in the NFL as they used to be, but the Chicago Bears hold a weird record because they have the most ties in a single season with 6 of them, including 3 games in a row. I don't know, I read like random facts for the day, and this was one that popped up, and I thought, interesting, so I looked it up. This is all true. Their last tied game, though, was... it was 9-24 in 1972 against the Los Angeles Rams, 13-13.
Right.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
But
we're not allowed to tie games anymore.
I know.
No, we are. We do.
We
have tie
can.
games.
It's just very rare. But yeah, they had a little streak going there. So I don't know. Maybe it's a different kind of streak they're having now. And last but not least, hopefully you were able to pay attention to all of this because the average American's attention span is super short. They did a poll recently where they tested a bunch of people. Basically, people got no attention span whatsoever. They can't even make it through 15 minutes of a show before they get bored or start multitasking. And Gen Zers, no shocker, here is the worst, saying that they checked their phones within a television show, and I'm assuming this was a 30-minute television show.
Right.
6 times during that episode.
That's low.
That's what I thought, too.
Who are we surveying again?
That's what I
Teenagers?
thought. This was, Gen Zers were who they were saying.
What is Gen Z? How old are Gen Zers?
I
think they're older than teenagers.
They're like the 20s and below, I think. So
here's the thing. My son, when he watches anything, even when we're watching Premier League.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah. And he loves that stuff.
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah.
He's still staring at his phone. Like, dude, the game's up there.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
He's going through TikTok.
Oh, geez.
Like, dude,
yeah. No.
Watch the game.
Yeah, you're doom scrolling with TikTok.
Honestly, you can say that about me sometimes during...
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's bad. It's so bad for you.
I know.
It really is, actually.
But we're all just... That's why sometimes it's nice to go on a, phone-cation where you just get rid of it for a while. Especially go on vacation somewhere with no signal, because then you have no choice.
Yeah, there's a commercial like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When the guy's dressed like a Norse god.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, a Viking.
So it's perfect. I love that. But you know what might be perfect? Maybe our picks today.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Do you? I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, I was 0 for yesterday.
Nah.
You did get a win.
I went with the Dolphins to win because they were underdogs at plus 120, but my guy Achan didn't get a touchdown, so he did not get a touchdown. No, thank you, sir. My fantasy league. However, I'm staying all on the ice today, so the first one I'm hitting up is Winnipeg Jets and the New York Rangers. Let's go, Jets, the only Jets that have any potential this year for success, in my opinion. But they're underdogs in this matchup, and I just want to see the Rangers lose. Sorry, I can't help it. Plus 106.
They are.
Go Jets.
Plus money. I was going to go there too, but I'll wait. Let's start with the first college basketball game of the State Farm, or whatever it's called, Champions Classic. I don't need to give the Jake from State Farm sponsor. Kansas, Michigan State. I've seen Kansas. I think Kansas is really good because I think North Carolina's really good. Give me the Jayhawks minus the 6.5, over 150.5, plus 249.
Well, next up, New Jersey Devils are in Florida taking on the Panthers.
Thought about that one too. Some great games tonight.
There really are some good ones. This will be a tough one, but I'm going with the Panthers. I got to go with them, and I'm taking the over because it could be very high scoring potentially. Over 6.5, so plus 235.
Devils not great defensively. I don't think their goaltending is great. Florida can score. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, I'll give you my hockey game. I think the Rangers beat the Jets tonight, and I think the Rangers tack on an empty net goal late, and they will. I'll give me the Rangers minus 1.5 goals, over 6.5, plus 374. Is it over 6.5 or under 3? I think I might have gone. I want to go under 6.5. Minus plus 374.
Yeah. Well, my last one, Detroit Red Wings. They're going to be in Pittsburgh taking on the awful Penguins. They're just so bad. How are they favored in this one? I don't know. I mean, the Red Wings aren't crazy awesome either this season, but I've got to go with the Red Wings. They're underdogs plus 115.
Nice.
So,
All right. My final one is the basketball game tonight. Duke and Kentucky in Atlanta in the Champions Classic. I think the Blue Devils are going to win this game. I think they're going to cover the 5.5. But I think we're going to be looking at more of a defensive struggle that Duke pulls away. Give me the Blue Devils to cover under 160.5.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
This is what WRAL weather coverage sounds like.
Thunderstorm warning right now in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
When your safety is a priority.
An indication that there is a tornado on the ground, so get in your safe spot
in this area. Get in your safe spot right now.
With the tools that make a difference.
WRAL Storm Tracker is inside the storm.
WRAL has the only dual Doppler radar in Wade County.
Hear it and see it every day.
It looks like the storm is doing exactly what we predicted to do.
That's WRAL News. Weather coverage you can count on.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and people often ask me, what is the Good Feet store? A shoe store? I respond, we are an arch support store. Haven't you spent enough time trying different shoes and all the disposable products that are supposed to make your feet feel better? Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The Panthers finally won a game, but let's not forget who did it. Leading the team in tackles, a rookie, Damani Richardson. Leading the team in receiving, Jatavian Sanders, a rookie. Leading the team second in receiving, another rookie, Jalen Coker. Xavier Leggett, another rookie, third. You have to let the young guys take over if you want to have success in Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's Bo time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's Bo time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go! It's Bo time.
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Now finance and get $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 12/2/24.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
Warm up your holidays with JCPenney. From snuggly soft women's sweaters just $19.99 to festive family PJs now 40% off. Get ready for winter with all the comfy, feel-good layers you love. Wrap yourself in a warm faux mink throw, only $24.99. It's more cozy, bigger savings for you. JCPenney. Make it count. Offers valid on select styles through 11/21. Deals excluded from coupons. See store or jcp.com for details.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Now, when I say Super Bowl contender, what I mean is I believe they could get to the Super Bowl. They could compete in the Super Bowl. I am not picking them to win the AFC. I'm not picking them to win the Super Bowl, but there are teams that I would tell you right now, no shot. And Pittsburgh's one you got to take seriously. The quarterback can play good enough. I don't think with the way they're constructed, they need a quarterback to be elite. They need a quarterback to just make good plays. They were in that game yesterday, and towards the end, it was like, hey, Russ, we need you to make a play. All right, I can make a play. He made the play. They can run the ball a little bit. They can play defense. They've got great coaching. And I think part of this, AFC has no, true runaway teams.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. I don't disagree with that statement, especially when you consider that the Chiefs, even though they are 8-0, simply refuse to look like an 8-0 team. But there is truth to the you are what your record says you are. But if you've watched them, you understand how close they are to being 5-3, and they are 8-0. Remember Isaiah Likely, the tight end for Baltimore, in the opener? If he wears a shoe one size smaller, it's a touchdown, and the Chiefs lose. The Broncos had a field goal, very makeable field goal blocked, basically on the last play, and they lose 16-14. The Chiefs are very, very, very fortunate. But at the same time, you've got the best quarterback and the best head coach and a great defense, which the Patriots kind of used to their advantage for about 2 decades. Nothing that says that the Chiefs aren't about to do the exact same thing and get away with, maybe not being great, but just winning all the time. And then when you get all these games at home and you're just used to winning, you just keep winning. It's remarkable, but their offense is not great. They've overcome a lot of injuries, but they still have Mahomes and they still have Kelsey, and now you've got DeAndre Hopkins to add to the wide receiver core, and you've got good other kind of complementary players, a good enough offensive line, and a great defense, which, of course, the Panthers are going to have to deal with coming up. All right, coming up in just a little bit, Greg Wyshynski of ESPN on the state of the NHL through 5 weeks. We'll ask him about teams that have surprised him. Look, I know it's going to sound like I'm setting him up for, well, the Hurricanes have surprised me. I think the Hurricanes have surprised all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But we'll talk to him about some other teams as well, but I'm sure we'll talk about the Hurricanes. All right, it's time for the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, we're going to start with the Panthers here. Dave Canales speaking yesterday. We're going to start with why he is still mum on who is going to be the starting quarterback when their season resumes in 2 weeks.
We'll take all the information in and we'll let you guys know. Fortunately for us, we have some time to kind of think this whole thing through.
Anything you're looking for particular that you haven't seen already, or?
Yeah, just all of it, right? Just taking it all in and just looking at the full system and all that, and then we'll make a decision going forward.
They've taken it all in.
Yep, just all of it.
Part of me kind of appreciates the game.
Oh, yeah.
Part of me.
He's sticking with it.
It's silly.
He's at least consistent.
Part of me appreciates the game. All right. What are you proud of with regards to Bryce Young's development so far?
I just see weekly improvement. I see a guy that's been engaged in the process the whole time, and to just watch him grow from 1 week to the next, come out there with confidence, to execute, and just the whole processes of it, which, of course, the more you play with guys, the more you get used to the me to you factor, the throwing and catching things, the operations and all that stuff. So, I'm really proud of the way that he's attacked this. I'm really proud of the way that he's, looked at these opportunities and gone in there with confidence, and it was great to see.
The throwing and catching things, we're back to that.
It's always ideal. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me continue in the NFL vein. Rex Ryan from ESPN. We're all looking at the Cowboys, and we know it is the end of the Mike McCarthy era. I'm not saying that everything that has happened is entirely his fault. He was just never the coach for the modern NFL. It's not who he is. It just isn't who he is. So Rex Ryan thinks he's got Dallas's next coach.
I look at a couple of teams recently. I look at the Lions, who they hire. One of their former players, Dan Campbell. How about the Houston Texans? Former player. Down the road. Former player, one of their former players.
D'Amico Ryans.
Ryans. I can see Aaron Glenn going to New Orleans next year, or the Jets. Deion Sanders may be in play here. And I'm going to tell you, they need something. They need to have somebody that has the pride in that damn organization. Being a Dallas Cowboy, the pride you take in it. And by the way, Deion, everywhere he's been, has been kicking what. All right, Jackson State, they were unbelievable when he was there. He takes Colorado. Right now, they're 7-2. Nobody saw that coming. They're playing in the big, whatever the damn
Big 12, now. Yeah.
Big 12. I'm just saying, watch what happens. They need that. How are you going to get this kid back on board? He's going to have to damn respect that guy that comes in that building. You're not going to respect Deion Sanders? He's twice the player you are, all right? And you know what? I coached Deion Sanders, great teammate.
Rex Ryan was the defensive coordinator in Baltimore when Deion Sanders had played his one season there. The player he's referring to there is Micah Parsons, who said he doesn't feel sorry for Mike McCarthy. He feels sorry for the players, which that would have been absolutely 100% understandable if he just stopped there. But he said, I feel sorry for the players who put the work in. The coaches also put the work in. I saw Herm Edwards go on an absolute anger-filled rant on SportsCenter yesterday. I get it, Herm. Micah Parsons was disrespectful to a coach, a member of your fraternity. I get it. We don't need to lose our minds on SportsCenter. But that was Herm. Anyway, I don't think Deion's going to get the Cowboys. But maybe he will. It's fine. Whatever. I got no problem with it.
He is busy being a pigeon for a commercial, so he
True.
may not.
I do think Deion is a good coach.
Yes.
I think he had his pants coached off by Trey Oliver at NC Central last year or 2 years ago. But I do think Deion Sanders is a good coach. I am not lying at all. I think when the games begin, when the preparation for the week begins, I think Deion is a smart, really smart football guy. So I think he is a good coach. Is he that good a coach? Do not know. All right, let me get one more thing in here because you have to hear it. Fran Brown is the head coach at Syracuse. Started off well, hasn't gone as well lately. And here's what Fran Brown does or doesn't do after they lose.
Honestly, I got like a ritual. Like when we lose, I ain't even getting a shower till early this morning. I just be mad. I just brush my teeth. But it's like I don't deserve soap. I don't deserve to do all that. I'm just focused on like trying to get back and trying to make sure that our players mentally understand and know that I let them down, that they didn't do it. So just being able to talk to them, and then just I'm just focused on the first quarter. Like today, Monday, it's the first quarter. Had to flush the win, getting ready to move on, get an opportunity to go against Cal. Me and Marshawn Lynch went to Cal, so like I'm thinking like, damn, we get to go against, that school, Deshaun Jackson, different people of that nature. Quarterback, I think Rodgers went there also. So like guys that I watched when I was as me playing football and growing up and through college and all like that. So it's an honor to be able to go against them. So I just kind of go focus on the next team as much as I can. But I just wake up all night, especially when you lose. You like wake up like, damn, it really happened. It really happened that way. So it's just different pieces. And then I just move on. Like I'm on with the week. Then I know when Thursday come and I got a meeting at 11:30 with Matt Park and all, and it's like, okay, now it's more to the game and just moving that way. But there's a process that I follow every week, win, lose, or draw. Only thing is like my wife, I can't sleep in the bed if we lose because I ain't going to get in the shower for that day. I'm just mad and I just sit there. I just brush my teeth. That's what I have to do so y'all won't say my breath stink, but I'm just kind of locked in at certain things, certain ways. I think you gotta earn the right to do certain things. So, winners get washed. You know what I'm saying? I'm a loser. I just kind of waited a little bit.
His wife deserves the soap, though. It's the weirdest ritual I think I've ever heard in my life.
You gotta deserve soap.
Yeah, I know. He flushes the win or loss and hopefully everything else.
Well, careful.
That's a question.
Careful. I'm not sure. Winners deserve flushing.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just leave it there. All right, when we come back, Greg Wyshynski of ESPN on the first 5 weeks of the National Hockey League. Winnipeg has lost one time. And I'm sure we'll talk about the Hurricanes. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The Panthers finally won a game, but let's not forget who did it. Leading the team in tackles, a rookie, Damani Richardson. Leading the team in receiving, Jatavian Sanders, a rookie. Leading the team second in receiving, another rookie, Jalen Coker. Xavier Legette, another rookie, third. You have to let the young guys take over if you want to have success in Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. The NBA is in full swing. By the way, Kevin Durant doing his thing as the Suns are off to an 8-2 start. And if you want NBA League Pass, all you have to do is get with FanDuel, because here's what you do. Place any $5 bet on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Isn't that cool? FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Go Suns. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their Express Equity line of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com, free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Experience a Raleigh tradition. Head to Amedio's Italian Restaurant, a family favorite for over 60 years. From weekly specials to their famous homemade recipes, Amedio's uses only the freshest ingredients. Need a touchdown for your tailgate? Amedio's offers delicious takeout, perfect for cheering on the Wolfpack. Or they can host your private party. Amedio's even caters. Amedio's Italian Restaurant, Raleigh's Taste of Italy since 1963. Visit AmediosRestaurant.com for details.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Experts say that heating costs are increasing up to 23% this winter. And if your windows aren't from Window Nation, your money is literally going out the window. They have some of the best insulated windows so your heat stays inside. And right now, get these amazing windows at 50% off. Plus, you could save even more money with 0% interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th. Schedule your fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold, Victoria producing the program. We're 5 weeks into the NHL season, and things maybe have surprised some people. Maybe people are surprised Boston is as woof as they appear to be. The West has certainly looked a little odd. Colorado looked great in the second period against Carolina on Saturday, but otherwise certainly hasn't been great. They've also been banged up. Edmonton hadn't gone great for Edmonton either. Greg Wyshynski, senior NHL writer at ESPN. He is a gentleman, a scholar, a fellow Mets fan. Unfortunately, you're also a Jets fan, and I'm sorry it has not gone well. But at least we have the NHL, and on top of that, two incredible matchups tonight with the Jets and the Rangers at the Garden and the Devils and the Panthers in Florida. So we got two great games to digest tonight. But what has jumped out to you? I'll just leave it open, kind of a blank canvas, over the first 5 weeks of the season.
Well, I am heading to that Winnipeg Rangers game tonight to see what a winning Jets team in New York looks like. It's been a while. You mentioned it sort of topsy-turvy. I was talking to somebody out at the rink today when I was doing some reporting on the Jets, And they put it correctly, which is that it's been hard to get a handle on the first part of this season because, you're trying to kind of figure out what's real and what's not. Obviously, the Hurricanes, we know, are quite real. Like 11-3 is no joke, and they're getting contributions throughout the lineup. And we know they're real because a lot of the things that we usually, not take for granted, but kind of count on with the Hurricanes are happening again, whether it's the Martinook-Stahl partnership or the way the top line is playing. Everything's kind of going as to be expected with the Hurricanes. When it comes to teams like the Jets and the Wild, like you said, I mean, you have teams like Colorado and certainly Nashville in that Central Division that everyone assumed were going to be better than they are. I think Colorado's case, health, like you mentioned, is the big issue. In Nashville's case, who the hell knows what's going on there as far as the influx of talent that they had and their inability to have it all meshed together. But, the thing about the Jets that I found interesting, because I know like a lot of us are trying to figure out what's going on there because they are so good and they are setting records left and right at the beginning of the season. It's in talking to them this morning, it certainly seems like, one, they're just getting contributions throughout the lineup. They can beat you in a number of ways. It does all track back to having the best goalie in the world as the foundation for everything they do. But more than anything else, and this is something that I think people kind of underestimate in hockey all the time, they got their teeth kicked in by Colorado last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that was after an 110-point season. And to a man, the players I talked to, whether it was Cole Perfetti or Josh Morrissey or whoever, they all kind of said, they pointed to last year's disappointment. They said, one, it's a great motivation to come back and play well this season. But two, it's also the thing in the back of their mind as far as like, don't take this start for granted because they've had good regular seasons before. It's not resulted in any playoff success. So I think that loss to Colorado also kind of keeps them honest if and when this extraordinary hot streak comes to an end at the beginning of the season.
The underlying metrics for this team are also the Jets we're talking about here are, they're bananas in how they're first in everything. They're first in goals scored. They're first in fewest goals allowed. They're first in expected goals. They're first in high danger chances. They're first in everything. They've scored 67 goals in 15 games. They've only allowed 31. That's more than 2-1. That is insane what they have done. They're plus 36. We're not even at Thanksgiving. How can you be plus 36 already?
Well, the other thing about them that I find interesting, and I do think that while there was some kind of fluctuation on the roster last summer, the same could be said for the Hurricanes for most seasons, is that consistency of roster is also a really big thing in the NHL. Like, you look at what's happening in Nashville right now, like I mentioned, they get an influx of three key players, one being Brady Shea, who you guys know well, and then Jonathan Marchessault, Steven Stamkos. Like, that's great. Like, that's a huge infusion of talent, but it also is trying to find a way to graft that foreign DNA onto what's already there on a team that maybe overachieved to begin with last season. And you look at Winnipeg, I talked to Scott Arniel, their head coach, today, and he said something interesting, which is that he said, most of their big changes lineup-wise are like 2 years old at this point. You think about like the Pierre-Luc Dubois disaster, where they had to deal him off to LA, and, Blake Wheeler leaving, and big changes to that lineup kind of happened 2 years ago. Then they go through last year. They have a really successful season. And so I think consistency of roster in this league is something that more oftentimes than not works out to your benefit. And then you get certain situations like the Islanders, for example, who are in the Metro and not playing all that well, where it's like, okay, well, maybe you've held your cards for too long. maybe this team's a little bit maybe that guacamole is not good anymore. It's past its expiration date. You know what I mean?
Oh, leftovers in the fridge, man. I'll get to that. I'm going to get to that. And it's 10 days from now. I don't think I probably should just throw it out. Greg Wyshynski, ESPN senior NHL writer, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Let me just ask you about two teams who I think are just bad, and there's no way around it. I think Pittsburgh's bad. I watched Pittsburgh twice already this year. Those were both those looked almost like games against an AHL team, at least on the defensive side of the puck. They were a total mess because they've got guys who can score and have scored, but they can't stop anything. And Boston, I was stunned at the game here where Carolina won 8-2, and it could have been worse. It maybe should have been worse than 8-2. I wonder if those two teams with great coaches are just done.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh's case, I've been kind of fascinated by the difference between the Penguins and the Capitals. Like, those two teams are always going to be linked as rivals, but they're especially linked because of Ovi and Sid,
right.
And those two teams being as good as they've been for the last 20 years. And so while we watch this Capitals team kind of morph and change into something that, made the playoffs last year and looks even better than they were last year this season under Spencer Carberry, we watch the Penguins kind of atrophy into nothingness. And it's been kind of stunning to see both teams striving to be relevant, one exceedingly more successful than the other at doing so. I don't know. The problem with the Penguins is not only how bad they are now, but that there's no real path forward. Like, It's almost like they're biding their time until Sid gets bored and decides he either wants to not be in Pittsburgh or decides he's going to retire because, they're just going to keep on trying to figure out a formula that might get them back to the playoffs because, nothing else seems to be working. And in Boston's case, they're a puzzling team. I mean, I think that losing the best goaltending battery in hockey with Ullmark going to Ottawa, that's a bit of a problem, as is the fact that Swayman didn't have a training camp. And, at last check, his save percentage was underwater as well. And then that lineup, they did some things to try to make it better. But ultimately, Elias Lindholm's a real good center, but I don't think he's a number one center in my book. I think he's a good complementary player.
Yep.
And they just don't have enough, I think, in the forward spot in particular to really get you too excited about them potentially being a playoff team.
Yeah, when they were here, I thought Jeremy Swayman was fine. I didn't think anything was about Swayman. I was stunned at how bad they were in front of him. Charlie McAvoy looked like he wasn't even on the ice. Like they grabbed somebody from the stands and put his jersey on him. I was stunned.
Well, that's why I brought up the tandem because, Jim Montgomery has a great reputation as a defensive coach, and the defensive system that they played in that season where they set all those regular season records before getting shocked by the Panthers, that was a lot of kind of what he coaches and the execution of it. But if you kind of take a look inside the numbers the last couple seasons, there certainly was a bit of propping up of the Bruins defense done by that goaltending, with Ullmark and Swayman being as good as they were. And so, he doesn't have a contract beyond this season, Montgomery.
Right.
And for all the talk from Don Sweeney, their GM, and others in the front office before the season, he hasn't put pen to paper on an extension. So I think that the front office has made some pretty bad decisions before the season, including letting the Swayman thing fester as long as it did. But having kind of this guy be a bit of a lame duck coach, I'm sure is not doing him any favors insofar as the command that he has in that locker room.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. His best guys also have not necessarily been all that great. Before I let you go, Greg Wyshynski from ESPN, NHL senior writer. Here's what has surprised me, and you can take this in for what it's worth. I'm not surprised the Hurricanes are good. You and I talked before the regular season started. I thought they'd be good. I'm not sure they're not great. And because we're sitting here now 14 games in, and it is a small sample size. And they're averaging more than 4 goals a game. And I promise you, they have gotten statistically not bad from Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, and Seth Jarvis. And he missed last night's game, and I don't know the status of him going forward. Its upper body might be problematic, but I really don't know. They haven't gotten really good offense from those guys. And obviously, Natchez is doing what he's doing, but it's the contributions they're getting from so many places. All the new guys have been great. Eric Robinson has been transformational for me for what he's done with Natchez and Kokoniemi. I could say the same thing about Shane Gostisbehere and Sean Walker, who have been a dynamite pairing on the blue line. But all the new guys, Jack Roslovic's got 9 goals. He had 9 last year. He's got 9 already this year. All of the new guys, including William Carrier, have all been excellent, and I think the new blood has gotten them back to playing the way they played at the beginning of the Rod Brind'Amour era.
Yeah, you're catching the Roslovic hot streak at the right time. It's coming earlier than usual.
Oh, he's not going to get 50 goals.
No, I mean he's playing like when you set NHL 94 on season mode and there's a glitch and some guy ends up with 105 goals. Like that's Roslovic. He's got like 9 goals and 1 assist. It's very glitchy. No, you're right. And so like, listen, as some of your listeners might know, I mentioned that they might not make the playoffs. I thought it was going to be a step back season for them in some ways, and clearly that hasn't been the case so far. And it's because of, like we talked about off the top, which is that when you have a system and you have a structure and you have familiarity, and then when the pieces you bring in fit in as seamlessly as these seem to have fit, and full marks obviously to Eric Tulsky, the new general manager, for orchestrating some of these moves at a time when, I think in the offseason, if you took a critical look at the Hurricanes, in some cases you'd be like, well, they're settling on some things because of defections or whatever. But the moves that they made were smart and shrewd and budgetary, and they seem to have worked out quite nicely. They look very good, and the results are solid so far. I'm interested to see how things break in the division overall. The Devils seem to be a little up and down and haven't necessarily gotten great goaltending from Jacob Markstrom yet, which is interesting. And then the Rangers, I was just out at MSG this morning, like I mentioned, and all the talk here in New York is what's up with Mika Zibanejad and can Ryan Lindgren be kept together for a full season health-wise? Mm-hmm. And if those two things are kind of malfunctioning for them, well, that changes their entire trajectory too. So the Hurricanes are, looking good, especially in a division where there's a lot of question marks and a little bit of flux. And it's good to look as solid as you do this early in the season.
Well, do you like Martin Necas at plus 20,000 for the Hart?
No, I don't, because as we've seen, I had the NHL Awards watch on ESPN.com this morning, and Kirill Kaprizov, Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid's lurking in the shadows for when the Oilers turn it around. Like, there's a lot of star power inherent in the Hart Trophy race right now, and I think the other, honestly, like if we're talking about this critically, I think the other problem for Necas or anybody who really breaks through as an individual on this Hurricanes team is there's such a perception of it being a team effort. Right. There's such a perception of it being a 4-line, 3-pairing team that it's hard to really cede too much value to one player over the field when it comes to the Hurricanes. And, perceptions suck sometimes in the sense that some guys don't get the recognition they deserve. I think Aho's been in that boat before. But in all honesty, like if Nate just continues to like light it up, it'll all probably come back to, hey, aren't the Hurricanes good versus, hey, this guy's really, towing the boat offensively for us.
There's no question. There's a reason why it's still plus 20,000, and he's got 24 points in 14 games and a 10-game point streak where he's got 21 of those 24 points. Greg Wyshynski, I appreciate your time, man. At Wyshynski, we'll see you here soon, I'm sure. I'll talk to you later.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Greg Wyshynski from ESPN here on the Adam Gold Show. We'll kick into a rewind. We'll talk a little bit about NC State. And guess what is coming up tonight? Now, we talked about it yesterday, about how college basketball could do with a shifting of the way the schedule lays out. Duke and Kentucky. Now, this is not vintage Kentucky. It's a new coach, but they are good. And they are a top, I think, 15 team. Kansas and Michigan State also playing. It would be interesting if this could have been a Duke-Kansas game, although they will play later on in less than a month. But tonight's game, could you move it? This game, but this doubleheader, could you move it to Super Bowl weekend? Play this game at the end of January, beginning of February? We'll talk about college basketball and this game next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Oh, the NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass All you got to do to catch every tip-off, every buzzer beater, every dunk is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.com.
My name's Kate Roper, and I live in Leicester, North Carolina. In September of 2023, I had a tumor removed from my left ear, and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. It was just such a relief knowing that now that I'm covered by NC Medicaid, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay for medical treatment now. It's probably saving my life.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
According to the latest report on farmland loss in the United States, North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. If you own land that may be converted from agricultural use, the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services may be able to help. Grants for the purchase of development rights are available through the North Carolina Agricultural Development and Farmland Preservation Trust Fund. Landowners can learn more at ncadfp.org.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Did you and your family lose North Carolina Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello there, it's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, Victoria producing the program. No Hurricanes hockey tonight. Tomorrow in Utah to wrap up this 3-game road trip. The hockey club was supposed to be really good going into the year. At this point, they're just kind of okay. But still, I think they have the bones of a good team. And Carolina's going to have to play well to wrap this road trip up on a winning note. Last night's performance was spectacular in Vegas against one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Right now, Winnipeg's the best team. We won't see them for a bit yet. But I am looking forward to, I think, a few weeks away from a run of 9 games in 15 days with 3 straight home games against Dallas, who doesn't have a good record, not as good as I think they can be. Dallas, the Rangers, and the Panthers. None of those are back-to-back, but it's like a Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So that should be a ton of fun. 3 straight home games to have that kind of quality coming to Lenovo Center. But we'll talk more about the Hurricanes tomorrow as they get ready to wrap up that road trip, and maybe I get more sleep. We're going to before we get into a rewind here and we talk about the Panthers. Duke and Kentucky will play tonight. And yesterday we talked to Chris Patola on the show from ESPN and SiriusXM, covers college basketball. And he had an article on a website imploring the sport to reimagine not how they schedule, but how the schedule is structured. And he wants to see more of the conference games early and more of these high-profile out-of-conference games in the second half of the year. And there are a number of reasons why you can do it, and I thought the article had a ton of merit, and I tweeted it out. And I got a message from, and I won't say who, I got a message from a national college basketball writer who thought that the idea was crazy. And here's what I would say. Based on what it used to look like, and I think this is what Chris was getting at, where you didn't have 18 teams in a conference, then it would, and playing anywhere from 18 to 20 conference games, I would agree that it would be unnecessary to do that. But now, because there are so many conference games and there are so many teams in your league, there are, because like the ACC has legitimately almost doubled in size. And there are 18 teams in basketball. So when I moved here in 1998, there were 9. We are twice as big. Twice. And
Keeps growing.
It's ridiculous. Well, it's none of it's good. I mean, we have to be honest here. None of it is good. Even the leagues that are making money hand over fist, the SEC and the Big Ten, it ain't good. It's not good that Rutgers and Southern Cal are in the same conference. That's not good. It's not good that well, the SEC in terms of a geographic footprint, I mean, they're the one league that makes more sense, right? Because they have all of those schools. But it's no good that Cal and Boston College are in the same conference. And here is my overall point as to why Chris Patola's plan is something that we should consider at least moving towards, not necessarily embracing whole hog, but in the second half of the year, once you've played your non-conference schedule, right? Once everybody has played their non-conference schedule, there is 0 chance. Individual teams can improve. But in order for individual teams to improve, you have to kill it. So we don't even need to assign a name to a team. But for the sake of argument, I'll just use NC State. If NC State, who's playing a pretty good, not an amazing, because your non-conference schedule is all of the teams you play, pretty good non-conference schedule. If State wins, goes 2-2 in their higher profile games, and then wins against the other crap teams that they play, because they play a lot of bad teams. I don't think Coastal Carolina is any good. They're playing Coastal Carolina tomorrow. They played USC Upstate already, right? So there's going to be some bad teams. I'm not singling them out. Every school plays a bunch of bad teams. But if State goes 2-2, their cake is baked in terms of what their power ranking is going to be, unless They get into the Atlantic Coast Conference, and I still think we're playing 20 games, and they go 15-5. So if you have a good year in the ACC and go 12-8, there's nothing wrong with that. But what you're not really doing is you're not going to improve your status in terms of all those power rankings. You're not going to improve by any great number. Yeah, you'll maybe bump up a little bit, but whatever your ranking is, and whatever your conference's ranking is, going in with when you lump all the teams together, it's pretty much going to stay that way. And we found this out the hard way last year. You can't tell me that the Big 12 and the ACC that you could build a Walmart in between those two leagues. You can't possibly believe it. You can't convince me of it. But that's the way it was talked about, and that's the way it turned out when the committee went and just shoved all these teams in because, look at their quad one games. Like, yeah, see, self-fulfilling. Because those things are automatic when it comes to, they're just not going to shift. If we took half of your non-conference high-profile games and you move them to the second semester, the spring, January, February, we would now have ways to truly gauge whether or not, you know what, maybe that team is better. Maybe if Clemson, although Clemson made the field, so let's use Wake Forest, who didn't, right, last year. Maybe if Wake Forest beats random team, TCU in February as opposed to November, they go, you know what? They're good. They are good. So that's what I think Chris is talking about, and it would be great for the sport. It would be great to have these inter-conference games, not intra-conference, but outside of your league. It would be great to have these in the second half of the year. If Duke and Kentucky didn't play November 12th, but played February 12th, that would be a freaking happening. Now, it already is a happening. It's not on a night where there's anything else going on, but they could set it up where it's not on a night where anything else is going on in February. So, and on top of that, there are Carolina and Kansas played on a Friday. Right? You can't play that game on a Saturday because you play that game on a Saturday, you get swallowed whole by college football. I do think that there is merit to mixing the calendar of basketball to have anywhere from 30 to 40% of your conference schedule in November and December, and the rest of it after the first of the year, and having some of these high-profile games in the second half. Some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. A long time ago, I wrote an article for when I used to write for our website, WRALSportsFan.com, suggesting that the Saturday of Super Bowl weekend, and I wrote this when I was covering the Super Bowl in, I believe it was Indianapolis, that the ACC should have a doubleheader of the 4 high-profile basketball schools in the league. And at that point, Syracuse was great, Louisville was great, Carolina and Duke were who they were. And yet you could have those 4 teams in whatever you're not going to have Duke and Carolina play, but crossover and have those 4 teams play. But what if you took tonight's 2 games, or you took, just to make it both ACC, you took Duke and Kansas, and you took Carolina and, maybe a good version of UCLA, or Carolina, Michigan State, and you played those games on Super Bowl weekend, the Saturday of Super Bowl weekend. I think people would take notice. And I think when you had those non-conference games in the second half of the year, I think they would be huge attractions, and they would serve the purpose also of differentiating in the second half, as we get closer to the tournament, how good these teams truly are. I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see us moving towards more of that. And again, it almost seems like we're going to start to see higher profile games in the second half of the year. We used to have it as a routine, and now it's like, wow. It shouldn't be a wow. It should be, oh, look at that. That's cool. It should not be eye-opening that we're going to see a top 25 matchup of teams that aren't in the same league after the first of the year. But you can count on really one hand the number of those we have had over the last decade. They just have disappeared from the schedule. All right, quick rewind. And by the way, I didn't even mention the game really tonight. I was looking at NBA, a mock NBA draft. ESPN's got a mock NBA draft up right now. Cooper Flagg 1, Con Knipple 6, Kamen Malawak 8. I was impressed by all of that. I think they had Drake Powell from UNC at 11. He was the only UNC player in the first round. Those were the only 3 Duke players in the first round. There were 3 Duke players in the second round. Ian Jackson, the other freshman for UNC, was the first pick in the second round, according to ESPN. Caleb Foster, Tyrese Proctor, and Sion James, the transfer from Tulane, they were all mentioned as second-round picks. I like Drake Powell. I think he needs to be more decisive. My takeaway from the game against Kansas was that there were opportunities for Drake to have an impact on the offensive end that he basically punted on by not being either ready or decisive in what he wanted to do when he received the ball, because he got a lot of passes in the corner where, hey, shoot it or make a play. And he kind of hesitated, and it was too late to then make a play. So you've given up whatever advantage you had. But I'm looking forward to watching on this stage Flagg, Knipple, and Malawak all play, and we'll see which veteran leaders for the Blue Devils step forward, because Kentucky is good. All right, let's get to our conversation with Darin Gantt of Panthers.com. Let's start with the Panthers' best player to this point in the season, Chuba Hubbard. To me, you either had to make one or the other play. You either trade him or you sign him to a contract, and they did that. I liked it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and again, Chuba, I can't say this enough. Chuba's the kind of guy you don't mind investing in because he works like that. And he is an object lesson as much as, the third leading rusher in the NFL right now. So right. I just think that because he works the way he works, because he does all the things, I've said over and over again, look at what Dan Morgan has done. His very first move as GM was to extend Derek Brown's contract, which is a no-brainer. He was your best player.
Yeah.
But when you watched OTAs all offseason, before they started practicing at the beginning of sprint lines, who's out there? It's Derek Brown and Chuba Hubbard leading the lines on offense and defense. You find those guys who are cornerstone pieces that you want to build around. You invest in the people who work the hardest and put the most into the program. And, by the way, happen to be producing at a high level. That's what you want to spend your money on, and they did.
I love it. And the truth is that that's really more of a 2-year contract than a 4-year contract. Hey, if Chuba Hubbard is still around in year 3 and 4, awesome.
Yeah, I'll take it.
That means he's healthy and productive. But as soon as that falls off, they'll move on. It's the National Football League. That's what we do here. All right. I also asked Darin, can you think of any reason at all why Bryce shouldn't be the starting quarterback?
Well, I mean, the reason Andy started instead of Bryce is Andy was playing better football than Bryce.
Right.
And, now, I mean, it depends. Has Bryce put a game on the board that is as good as Andy's game in Las Vegas? No, he hasn't. That's kind of and I think that's part of the reason and again, this is me speculating and playing shade tree psychologist, but I think that if you're looking for reasons why things are a certain way or whatever, I think that they want to keep Bryce in the mindset of continue to earn this job. You're doing great so far, positive step, but nothing is being ordained. Nothing is being given. So, I mean, they've done that for the last couple of weeks. Things have worked out okay. It's obviously when you go up against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, you're going to need more than 125 passing yards. Okay, that's just a guess based on 30 years of observation of professional football. But I think it's valid to keep him in a mindset of what can you do to get yourself better. And I thought it was telling the way Dave talked about it after the game the other day. Number one, people want to parse. Oh, he didn't confirm, whatever. I mean, when he says Bryce made a really great statement for himself today, I think that told you everything you needed to know in terms of the mechanics of it. But in the way Canales said, he had a pretty good day. And there were a couple things away from being a really good day. I think that's the soundbite not enough people are latching on to.
I agree with that.
It's important to hang on to those holes in the game, the flaws, the things you want to see him get better at. And so I think if you can keep him in that mindset of improvement, it's better for everybody.
All right, so here's my only counter to that is that Andy Dalton's game in Vegas was great. But I don't think we have seen great since then. I thought we saw good in the game against Cincinnati. And we saw okay against Atlanta. We didn't see great. And the game against Washington was woof. The game against Chicago was woof. So what we have seen is the variance that at this stage of the game we're probably going to get from Andy Dalton. And my point was then and is now that at that point in the season, you were still trying to, keep your locker room because the locker room isn't going to exist functionally if your team is inept. And at that point, your offense was inept and your defense wasn't able to save it. Defense still isn't great. It's getting a little bit better now that you have some pass rushers. But the truth is that your offense needed Andy Dalton to prop it up for a few weeks. And once Andy Dalton's thumb got hurt, it gave you an excuse you wouldn't have taken. If Andy Dalton didn't have a thumb injury, you were going to continue on with Andy Dalton because everybody was, basically knew what they were getting with Bryce. And now you're seeing a little bit more. And now we have to go back, in my opinion, to what was the whole point of bringing in Dave Canales to get Bryce Young functional, to get him better, to improve him. Well, we're starting to see that now. What would be the point of going back to Andy Dalton? I mean, if this team's not making the playoffs, we can joke all we want. The truth of the matter is that this team now needs to slip back into the let's get Bryce up to speed. That's my opinion. That's why I'm here. Victoria, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Appreciate everybody else. Check out the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast on YouTube and otherwise. See you tomorrow.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my man, Coach Pete DeRuta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex, the retirement planning specialist. I don't know if you know this, but we had an election recently. What is it going to do to